We're now called to order the Cochise County Board of Supervisors regular meeting for Tuesday, April 7th. We're meeting in the Supervisors Hearing Room on Melody Lane in Bisbee. The order or deletion of any item on this agenda is subject to modification at the meeting, and any item listed is open for discussion and possible action. Please note that some attachments may be updated after the agenda is published, meaning presentation materials displayed at the board may differ slightly from the attached versions. Members of the Cochise Board of Supervisors will attend either in person or via remote conferencing. Members of the public may also attend this meeting via Microsoft Teams or the mobile app. The board may permit public comment during the discussion of any item on this agenda. To speak on an agenda item during the call to the public, complete and return the speaker request form to the clerk of the board prior to 9 a.m. on the day of the meeting. We'll begin with an invocation. Ms. Kim Depew, would you honor us, please?
Thank you, Mr. Crosby, for this impromptu opportunity to remember that we are in the shadow of the resurrection. He is risen. We are grateful for many things. God gives us second chances in light of that resurrection. He has given us a country and a constitution based in Christian principles. Locally, we are grateful for supervisors who obviously care about this county and a nice, strong attendance of citizens willing to share what they think the direction should be. Thank you, Lord. Amen.
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 Thank you very much. All right. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Right. Next up is roll call. District 1.
Crosby is here.
District 2.
Gomez is here.
District 3, Antonori is here. All supervisors are present and in person. We will begin with a summary of events, of current events in each supervisor's district, or a right to personal privilege to discuss a matter of interest to the respective supervisor. Mr. Crosby, do you?
I'll pass in the interest of expeditious meeting.
Okay.
Oh, and I will not refer because it's important
The
information.
chair is yours. Let's go.
Okay.
Go for it.
So this
The floor.
Saturday, April 11th, is a Trojan Run in Douglas, Arizona to support our Air Museum. We have only one of 4 Trojans that are left in the world. This is a really good event. Douglas starts at 7 o'clock in the morning and at the airport park. We also have the Rose Festival that is April 11th in Tombstone, really nice event, as well as the El Toro de Zona race, which is Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And a heads up, of course, to those in Tombstone, Charleston Road will be closed from, I would just say it's closed the whole day. They say 9 to 3, but it would just be better advisement to just stay away from that area. The other thing I wanted to let people know is that I've been working really hard to get the Screwworm Distribution Center here at BDI. The Screwworm is only about 178 miles from here. And if you think it just affects cattle, you're wrong. It affects dogs, and humans also. So I was lucky to get about 9 letters of support from the New Mexico Farm Bureau, from the New Mexico Cattlemen's Association, the New Mexico Stockmen's Exchange magazine, to the Greenlee Cochise Cattlemen's Association here in Arizona, the Arizona Cattlemen's Association, as well as mayors from Bisbee and Wilcox and Douglas. So we sent all these letters up to our congressional leaders and to Secretary Rollins with USDA, and hopefully they're talking about doing it. Hopefully it will be done sooner than later, but I'm excited because in the 70s, BDI also was part of the Screwworm Distribution Center, and they eradicated the whole problem. So we're hoping to do that again. And lastly, I kind of have been really thinking about all the misinformation that gets sent out about what we do here in the Board of Supervisors. And this data center, as I'm sure we'll hear from many of you, and from many of the emails I saw, is loaded with misinformation. So I just thought I'd go online to see the impacts of what happens to elected officials and local governments when misinformation is put out there. And basically, there's been a fundamental change, to exploit and amplify information to sow discord and cause alarm and ultimately undermine confidence and public trust in the core institutions of our democracy. Increasingly with Facebook and social media, there's seamless manipulation of facts. So one of the things, you have to think about when you do and you listen to misinformation is how it diverts resources to, diverts our resources. It takes a lot of time for us to do what's right, to try to handle misinformation. And when you don't listen to what's put out there by the Board of Supervisors, you don't go on and listen to our work sessions, but you take the word of people on social media, it really, really does a disservice to what your cause is and to what we're here to do. So as we go forward, I hope that you will think twice of everything you see on social media and what is put out there. There was something put out that had our seal. This is your last chance for you to mention anything about a data center. In fact, it's the farthest thing from it. We have no data centers. We have no NDAs. We did an ordinance because if you do not do an ordinance, a data center could come here under general use and do what they want, and we would have no authority. So you have to understand, I would hope that you would understand that we up here are not sitting here to do anything that's illegal or evil. We want to do the best for the community. I'm fourth generation, born and raised in this county. I don't want anything to happen bad to this county, but we have to have some form of economic development, or my town that I'm from is going to die on the vine, and so will this county. So there has to be compromise, and there has to be room for discussion. But I would hope and implore you not to take everything you hear as a matter of fact. And that's all I have to say.
All right, thank you. You good?
Oh,
All right.
Ms. Gomez, points are well taken.
All right. All right. I'm going to reserve my time to when we get to the topics at hand. I have a little discussion. Before that, I'm just looking at the list here for speakers that have requested to speak. And I see a lot of people have requested to speak today. So in the interest of time, under the rules granted to me under Arizona open meeting law that allow, in the interest of time and efficiency, I'm going to make some reasonable time, place, and manner restrictions in accordance with the open meeting law. I want everyone to have an opportunity to speak. But I've noticed that because several people have signed up for call to the public and to speak on item number 9 and the public hearing agenda item number 10. You're listed to speak on both. And I'm assuming you would like to get 6 minutes, 3 in each to speak. And that's, to me, I think, taking advantage of the system. I'm going to give you 3 minutes. Everybody's going to get 3 minutes. So if you want to speak on agenda item number 9 or item number 10, when you come up under call to the public, under Arizona open meeting law, call to the public is for people to address the board on any topic not on the agenda. So I could call you out of order and tell you to sit down because you're speaking on an agenda item and wait, but I'll let you talk. I'm going to let you talk for 3 minutes, but I'm going to count that as your 3 minutes for agenda item number 9 or agenda item number 10. So you will have your opportunity to speak just like everybody else. You will get 3 minutes on the related topic. If you are speaking on 2 different topics, I will let you speak for 3 minutes on one topic and 3 minutes on the other, but they have to be 2 different topics. So if you're going to speak on the same, I'm going to count. When you speak on the call to the public, I will count that towards your speaking on the agenda item. If you don't want to speak on the call to the public on that issue and you want to wait until the agenda item, just wave me off when I call your name. Just say I'm good, and then I will call on you when the appropriate agenda item is up. Because we've got other business that we have today. It's a busy day, so we want to efficiently get through these and have an opportunity, give an opportunity to the public to make their comments. So with that, I guess we will start with call to the public. So, also I want to do one thing. I mentioned I'd like to move, in the interest again of some of the folks that are here, in the interest of some of the folks that here. Where is it at? I'd like to move agenda items 14 and 15 and 16 up to under agenda item number 8, please. So Flora, you can make that just so, because we have people here from the court and they got to get back to court. We're going to move them up so they have an opportunity. So we'll do the public hearings afterwards, since so many people are willing to talk. So we'll just get the folks from the court in here. We'll get the appointments done. We'll get them out of here so they can go back to work and do their thing. And then we'll continue on with the meeting. So we're just going to move those agenda items forward. So, and then the rest of the agenda items will be in the regular order. So 11 and 12 and 13 will still be where they're at. All right. So with that, did somebody have a comment or no? No? Okay, we're good. All right. So let's go start with call to the public. First up to speak, Mr. Mike Dzychek or something. I'm sorry if I pronounced that wrong. Are you here, sir? Nope, he is not here. Okay. All right. Joan Murphy. Miss Murphy, are you here? Or on the phone or on Teams?
I'm here.
Oh, there you are, Miss Murphy. Miss Murphy, you have 3 minutes.
Okay, my topic is a moratorium. I understand that the Planning and Zoning Commission recommended a 120-day moratorium on new data center applications. I would ask that this be made into a year and that no move may be made to establish regulations to address potential data centers. I ask for this to be done at this time since so many areas of the country are fighting against data centers. And those that already have them are reportedly experiencing water issues and much higher utility bills. The potential for negative outcomes here is so high, and it's easier to put the genie back and you know what I'm going to. Don't do it. It's harder to put the genie back in the bottle. And thank you for your time.
Okay. Since that's sort of related to the topic, I don't know if everybody read, I put out a press release last week explaining state law and state statute regarding the rules for implementing moratoriums. And right now, the county does not meet any of the criteria needed to implement a moratorium. So it would be illegal for us to implement a moratorium. And to sort of add to that, we are in the beginning phase. We're doing exactly what you are asking us to do. We're in the process of developing a plan so that these data centers don't take advantage of the residents of this county. But we'll speak to that more. But I actually explain it. If you don't have a copy of it, I explain in detail the rules for establishing moratoriums and what is required to do so. And hopefully somebody read it, but
Are there copies out?
I don't think so. I don't know if we have copies outside?
There are copies on the website.
Oh, there's copies on the website. Okay, so they're on the county.
So sometimes maybe for this kind of an audience, we could have them printed so they can read them, because most likely they never saw it and it would be beneficial for them to.
I'll ask Jan.
Yeah, because I have a funny feeling a lot of the comments today are going to be related to that, but I just want to make sure we're following state law. And I've outlined the criteria here for implementing moratoriums, and there's certain conditions that have to be met, which includes receiving a permit request, which we have not gotten. So we can't arbitrarily create moratoriums without a reason for a moratorium. Basically, that's it in a nutshell. But I explain it in more detail if you want to read it. But we'll continue on. So thank you, Ms. Murphy. I appreciate your comments. Karen Fasten Power. I'm sorry if I'm butchering your names. I'm so sorry. Fasten Power. Are you on Teams
Perfect.
or what's that?
Yes, I'm on Teams. You got it great.
Oh, thank you, ma'am. You have 3 minutes.
Thank you. And I just want to say I've also will be speaking on item number 9, but it's different issues. Thank you.
Okay.
At the February 11th meeting, Supervisor Antonori made a pledge for transparency and public involvement as it relates to data center decisions. I call on the Board of Supervisors to take seriously this pledge. Hold more open meetings at times that working people can attend, publicize those meetings, bring nonpartisan experts in, and most importantly, do not sign NDAs. Until Supervisor Gomez said just a few minutes ago, we have no NDAs, there has been no response received on the many inquiries about have NDAs already been signed. I'm glad to hear that none have been signed, and I ask for everyone to pledge not to sign NDAs. Then there's the issue of the moratorium on data center applications recommended by the Planning and Zoning Commission. This technology is changing very rapidly, and if we don't make well-informed and well-reasoned decisions about data centers the county will suffer. Last Friday, as Mr. Antonori just stated, the board seemed to decline taking the steps to even consider enacting a moratorium. One reason given was the state statute language in ARS 11833, which sets standards for the enactment of moratoriums and says that the findings must contain, quote, a showing of the extent of need beyond the estimated capacity of existing essential public facilities expected to result from new land development, or in the case of water resources, a showing that in an active management area, an assured water supply cannot be provided, or outside an active management area, a sufficient water supply cannot be provided, end quote. Cochise County has AMAs in place, and regardless, there is certainly solid evidence that, quote, a sufficient water supply cannot be provided, end quote. The board further says that they won't consider a moratorium because there are no active applications. It seems that those are being worked on in the background with the consultation of the board, and when they are submitted, there will be no way to stop them because the process defined in the pending ordinance has little or no protections. Essentially, the board won't make hard decisions now because there are no active applications, and when there are active applications, those will be approved because there are no guardrails in place. As a result, the water situation will grow worse. By the county's own admission, there is loud and bipartisan opposition to data centers here. Please listen, foster a real dialogue, and safeguard the future of our county, its waters, its utilities, and its people. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. All right, hang on. I'd appreciate everybody. You're not supposed to clap or applaud or make catcall comments during the discussion. You're gonna cause a delay in getting this done, and we're trying to get through. We have like 58 people that want to speak. All right, so I appreciate it. Next up is Miss Allison Morris. Miss Morris, do you want to speak now, or do you want to speak again on item 9? Oh, there you are.
Thank you, and good morning, supervisors. I appreciate you allowing me the time to speak. I wanted to just briefly address the misinformation question or situation or comment that Supervisor Gomez just made. It does work both ways. We are receiving misinformation as well, so it's important. I do my best to do research. I go to great lengths, and it is discouraging when we do hear from elected officials that we're not getting the right information, or it's slightly different than what we turn up with. So I would just like to start off by saying that we are your constituents, and we care about this place we call home, and we want you to listen to us with the courtesy and respect that we deserve. Our letters are not spam or canned emails. I'm glad to see that your afternoon meeting will cover decorum, and hopefully this will discourage any future name calling or elected officials and disparagement of your constituents. We are your constituents, and as we taxpayers, we pay your salaries, which represents close to $500,000 sitting between you three. I'm happy to see that the speakers may no longer transfer or yield their time to any other speaker. We witnessed this several years ago when a small group of election deniers from Maricopa County monopolized a public meeting by having a Cochise County residents yield their time to them. What was supposed to be a straightforward motion to accept the already verified election results turned into a 2.5-hour circus. Finally, I'd like to praise you for spelling it out clearly that speakers should not be interrupted if they are following the rules of decorum. The meeting minutes of February 24th are still not accurate. I was interrupted while mentioning the video of former President Barack Obama and former First Lady Michelle Obama depicted as apes in the context of Black History Month. I was not discussing law enforcement funding. And finally, our speaker request forms clearly state that during the call to the public, members of the board may not discuss items that are not specifically identified on the agenda. This rule has been ignored in the past, and discussion has occurred when there has been absolutely no criticism of an individual board member. I trust that we will all be held to the same rules, whether that person is a member of the public or an elected official. And I look forward to listening to your afternoon work session. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Next up, we have Cheryl Knott. Ms. Knott.
So my comments are not about item 9 on the agenda, which I've also signed up to talk about. I want to thank you all, the supervisors, the county staff, and everyone who is participating in this meeting, either online or in person. I think all of us have a common understanding of the significance of decisions regarding data centers. I'm not talking about the ordinance. I think what's happening here is a collaborative process. It is contentious at times, but valuable for the different views that are aired and the facts that are shared. The supervisors seem to be proceeding from a belief that data centers are inevitable in Cochise County, but many residents don't believe that they are. Asserting that something is inevitable, that no matter what we do or say, it will happen, can lead to people giving up on the future that they want for themselves and their children. When others try to convince us that something is inevitable and that therefore our words are wasted, they're rejecting the collaboration that makes the county, our county, stronger. I have the deepest respect for the supervisors, the county staff, and the residents who are engaged in the data center discussion and all discussions that matter to the county. No matter what decisions are made today, the process of collaboration should and will continue. It's our civic duty. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. All right, next up, we have Mary Ann Bowles. Ms. Bowles. If you don't mind when you come up, because I don't see on the list here where you're from. You just give me like what town?
Bisbee?
You're from Bisbee.
I
Okay,
live here in Bisbee.
thank you.
Okay, so hopefully I can do this quickly enough. I'm nervous about this. So not only do I lease property in Cochise County, but I'm also a landowner in a RU zoning district. And one of the issues I face as I'm trying to build my home is a dwindling water table. Because I'm also speaking on data centers. Because the water table is so low, I've been forced to abandon the idea of a well because it's too costly and risky. I've also been told by the county that I'm only allowed to irrigate 1 of my 5 acres of land because of the water issues. So I find it absurd that with our ongoing water issues that we are even entertaining the idea of data centers that can use up to 5 million gallons of water per day, while a landowner is restricted to irrigating 1 acre of land. Data centers deplete aquifers and they contaminate groundwater, but water usage is an obvious problem, as is rising electrical costs and usage. There's a couple other issues that I don't see in the language of the guidelines that I think are important to bring up. There is some addressing of sound pollution, but there's recent studies that show that not just high frequencies, but low frequencies have a significant impact on higher cognitive functioning in humans. It affects, hold on, I'm losing my place. It affects the ability to think logically, for mathematical calculations, for processing data in the brain. It has some significant impacts, and those are the sounds that we don't hear. Those are the inaudible sounds. So I think that if you're going to include things in the guidelines for data centers, if they're inevitable, as it seems everyone is saying, that's something that needs to be considered as well, is sound pollution on both levels. High decibels create hearing loss, they create stress levels, cardiac issues, and these are hard science facts. These are things that you can't escape. There's also some new information from some recent studies that show that they create heat islands. Data centers create a lot of heat. Let's see if I can find where I'm at in this paper. Very recent studies show that temperatures surrounding data centers can increase 3.6 degrees Fahrenheit. Some temperatures can spike as high as 16.4% around a data center in an area where we get over 100 degrees. That's ridiculous. These temperatures affect an area of up to 6.2 miles from these facilities. And these raising temperatures they're going to affect the health of surrounding humans and surrounding wildlife. They increase heat waves, health problems, and water and energy usage. And this is something that's being newly studied as data centers, which is why a moratorium would be kind of important so that we can kind of see. We've got over 11 states in the nation right now that are introducing legislation for moratoriums on data centers in their states to at least 2030, while more research and information can be done. I think that this is something that we really do need to consider.
Thank you, ma'am.
Anyway.
Appreciate it. All right, next up to speak is Miss Quisenberry, Donna Quisenberry. Are you present or online, Miss Quisenberry? Would you like to speak now or do you want to wait? As long as you don't talk about the ordinance or anything related to the ordinance, go for it.
Okay, well, okay. I would like to request a moratorium, but not based simply on the data centers. I have other reasons for requesting a moratorium, at least 120-day moratorium. I've been involved with the general adjudication of all rights to use water in the Gila River system and source for 6 years now. I have emailed the board and the clerk with the documentation that I have. The documentation that I sent to the clerk, I got a delivery rejection, so I must not have had the correct email address for them. Anyway, there is currently a case in Arizona Superior Court initiated by the Center for Biological Diversity, San Pedro 100, and Robin Silver. The defendants are Arizona Department of Water Resources and Thomas Burzynski in his capacity as director of ADWR. They are accused of failing to perform mandatory duty to review every 15 years the designation of adequate water supply to the city of Benson in 2008, number 41-401-803-0001, designation in the Benson subwatershed of the Upper San Pedro River Basin. ADWR has failed to review the designation at all, let alone the mandated 15-year time frame. There is a federal reserved water right for San Pedro Resource Natural Conservation Area. There is a lawsuit that will be appealed against the City of Benson and the City of Benson Planning and Zoning for issuing an illegal CPU for aluminum dynamics on the San Pedro River. I have a copy of the U.S. Geological Survey's investigation of the Middle San Pedro watershed, eastern Arizona, a project of the Rural Watershed Initiative that was published in April 2006. I have not had time to research any follow-up documentation on that.
Thank you, ma'am. Appreciate it. All right, next up,
Also, solar energy and the leases.
thank you, ma'am.
Okay.
Next up, we have Jenny Town. Miss Town, are you present or online? Jenny Town? Not here? Okay. Next up, Diane Sears. Diane Sears. Sears, are you in person or online or on the app? Is she on there, Laura? No, that's 2 in a row. That's interesting. We usually don't have that happen. Steve Helfrich. You want to wait? Okay, sir. All right. And then Diana Lamar. Miss Lamar, are you here or online? Oh, you're here. Would you want to speak? Okay. All right, you have 3 minutes, ma'am.
Shocked me. Okay, good morning. Thank you for allowing the public comments. My name is Diana Lamar. I live in Douglas, Arizona. I would like to urge the supervisors to take a different position from what was stated at a recent Board of Supervisors meeting regarding your constituents repeating themselves, essentially not thinking on their own and copying opinions that they agree with. It is not appropriate to characterize this as spam, but is more similar to signing on to a petition you have read and agree with. Some constituents may not have time or feel confident to compose their own arguments. Their opinions should not be dismissed for that reason, and I seriously question the legitimacy of picking and choosing which public statements you will consider and weigh. I don't want to make the same error, so let me address 2 comments from the possibly canned response I recently received. They are coming, I quote. Choosing to ignore that reality does not stop development. It only limits our ability to manage it. I don't believe we are ignoring anything. I quote, it is also important to acknowledge that every one of us depends on data centers every day, from emails and online banking to cell phones and emergency communications. This technology supports nearly our daily life. This very email you sent in opposition to data centers rely on the same infrastructure you're against. I'm not against, I didn't state that I was against data centers, and stop. And I have to say, it's rather condescending. We are not stupid. It would be more helpful to address the actual points that we are making. Ms. Gomez just earlier said that she implores us not to take everything we read as fact. I agree, and I want to reflect that back to the supervisors as well. I believe that we should have a moratorium, 6 months to a year. I agree with, I believe, with every commentary I've heard thus far. I believe there should be no NDAs and that we need greater transparency in this process. Thank you.
All right, thank you, ma'am. All right, that's it for call to the public. We'll move on to the regular agenda items. Can I get a motion to approve consent agenda items 1 through 8, please?
Mr. Chair, I move we approve consent agenda items 1 through 8.
Second.
All right, any discussion?
No, sir.
I just want to make one comment. In one of those consent agenda items is the reappointment of Judge Baroic. I'm not going to pull it off the consent agenda. I'm actually going to support the reappointment for Judge Baroic because I believe since she's taken the bench, she's done an exemplary job and she should be given credit for that. And I will recognize that. So with that, the motion before the board is to approve consent agenda items 1 through 8. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Did you say aye?
Yes, I did.
I didn't, I'm sorry, I didn't hear. All right, motion carries 3-0. Consent agenda is approved. All right, next we will go on. Can I get a motion for, we're going to skip to 14.
14.
Yeah, 14 to help Ms. Flores get out of here so she can get back to work.
Okay, Mr. Chairman, I ask that we approve the appointment of Terry Bannon as countywide roving justice of the Peace Pro Tempore. Okay, to serve when no elected justice of the peace is available to conduct necessary hearings pursuant to ARS 22-121 for the term of April 7th, 2026 through June 30th, 2027.
Second.
All right, Ms. Flores, can you give us I kind of already know what's going on, but give us an explanation, please.
Yes, good morning. Following the retirement of our previous roving Justice of the Peace, Gary Raymaker, the court did initiate a recruitment process. Following our administrative order, we established a selection committee, which consisted of 7 members, private attorneys, members of the community, and justices of the peace. people who applied, the committee met, and they presented Terry Bannon as the candidate for the roving justice of the peace to the Superior Court presiding judge. This position does handle any conflict case in a justice court. It helps us maintain the case in the county and not have to go to an out-of-county judge. The roving justice of the peace does travel to that court. So that alleviates any travel for anyone who would like to hear the proceedings in that matter.
All right. Any questions?
Mr. Chair, I wonder if we could hear a brief explanation of what the difference is between a pro tempore in the Superior Court versus a pro tempore in the justice courts.
Mr. Chairman and supervisors, a judge pro tem and a justice pro tem have the same legal powers and their decisions have the same legal effects as regular judges. If you are asking about the appointment process, there are different statutes that govern that.
I don't know if Flores wants to add.
May I add just one difference? Superior Court judges must be a attorney. They must be a resident within the state and practicing in law for 5 years. And a justice of the peace, they can be an attorney or they can have a high school diploma.
Yeah,
To be able
18 to be able to read and write
be
English is the
18 years old,
criteria.
yes. So that is just one addition to that.
Thank you, Ms. Flores.
All right. So with that, any other questions or discussion? All right. The motion before the board is to approve agenda item number 14, which is the appointment of Judge Terry Bannon as a countywide roving justice. All those in favor say aye.
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 Aye. Motion carries 3-0. All right, let's jump to 15 next, please.
Mr. Chair, I move we approve the appointment of Cameron Judd and Randall Wilson as countywide justices of the peace pro tempore for emergency or temporary coverage pursuant to ARS 22-121 and authorize the use of an appropriately appointed justice of the peace pro tempore from another county in extenuating circumstances pursuant to ARS 22-122 effective April 7th, 2026 through June 30th, 2027.
I second.
All right, any discussion? You want to explain, or explain, I'm sorry, explain, Ms. Flores, I'm sorry.
Two of our weekend holiday justices of the peace pro tempores. We followed the same process for establishing a recruitment process, establishing a selection committee under our administrative order. The committee for the roving justice of the peace and for these justices of the peace pro tempore were the same. They presented 2 names to the Superior Court presiding judge, who then were approved to move forward. These justices of the peace pro tempores help us cover any weekend or holiday initial appearances for the justice courts and also for Superior Court to ensure that those hearings are being heard timely. Was there any questions?
Any questions, discussion? None? All right.
I don't have any questions, but I did want to note that as for myself, I will demand impartiality from these judges with regard to search warrants. Impartiality.
All right. All right. So no more discussion or comments. The motion before the board is to approve the appointment of Cameron Judd and Randall Wilson as countywide justices of the peace pro tem. All those in favor say aye.
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 Aye. Motion carries 3-0. Can I get a motion to move agenda item number 16, please?
Chairman, I move that we approve contract 25-15-SUP-01 with Sloan R. King, PhD, LLC for return to competency services and submit written Rule 11 reports to the Superior Court indicating whether a defendant is competent to stand trial, effective for 1 year with 4 additional years upon mutual agreement of both the county and Dr. King.
Second.
Any discussion? You can explain, Ms. Flores.
Court administration worked with procurement to conduct a bidding process for a new evaluator for restoration to competency to have someone here locally. It is challenging if we are trying to send someone to Pima. They are not accepting anyone outside of their county currently. Or the Arizona State Hospital. There is a waiting list and it's more expensive to do that. So Dr. King has been on contract for several years. Her contract expired. We conducted a bidding process and she was the only person to submit interest in that bidding process for the request for proposal. The proposal was evaluated and determined to be fair and reasonable, and Dr. King is capable of completing the services that are requested within that RFP.
So this is where we would take somebody who is maybe in the jail and send them out to see if they're competent. And that's an expensive endeavor, isn't it? Quite expensive, like 100,000 if they go to the Arizona.
No, that's if they're,
So with restoration of competency,
That's restoration, right.
Yes, Dr. King, she's able to do in custody defendants. So if they're in custody, she does go to the jail to conduct those evaluations. If they are out of custody, she also does provides those services and she conducts those locally. At times they're held in the court. And so that helps us, and it also helps the sheriff's office with transport to Pima, to Ash, or to Yavapai, wherever there may be someone available to accept them. And then if we were to go out of county, it could be $30,000 or more, depending on the location, on top of transportation and a wait list that we would have to be on until they accept that person. And until that person is accepted for the evaluation, they remain in the custody at the jail.
And is she in Sierra Vista or where's she located?
She's in Tucson and she does
Tucson.
travel here to Cochise County.
yeah, this is just to prove whether they're competent or not
Okay,
competent to
good
stand trial. After she makes that decision, then when you're talking about kicks in,
Okay.
after she makes that decision. So this is just to get a psychiatrist to evaluate these
Whether-
Mr. Chair,
defendants.
I
Yeah,
had a
Mr.
question
Cosby,
or
sure.
something. Ms. Flores, I'm looking at this sheet called pricing and Appendix A and looking at the amount of $19,500 per case. And you just mentioned a cost of $30,000. Madam Gomez talked about a cost of $100,000. So could you explain to the public why $19,500 is such a good deal?
That is a good deal because that does currently we did have an increase in we had an increase in cases. Last year we had 21 cases that were referred to RTC. Prior years to that we had 14. So once you start adding the number of cases that are going for restoration to competency, 19,500 is a cost savings for the county. We're not paying 30,000 on top of any daily fee that facility may continue to charge, depending how long that individual will be in their getting their evaluation. And then on top of that, it would save with any transport costs, any personnel costs, any overtime costs that does incur in these procedures or
Thank you,
in
Ms.
these
Flores.
case processes.
I also wanted to repeat that for us, I know for sure, is we want to avoid using the jail as a psychiatric facility, and hopefully we'll get to the point where we're not doing that so much. That concludes my comments, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Any additional comments? None? All right, hearing none, the motion before the board is to approve the contract 25-15 SUP-01 with Susan R. King, PhD. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 3-0. Well, all right, let's get Daryl up here. Let's do 17 real quick and then so he can go back to work
Thank
too,
you.
because I'm
Thank
sure
you,
there's
Ms. Flores.
an air conditioner or something that needs work somewhere and some light system that's broken or plumbing that something. So with that, can I get a motion to move number 17, please?
Mr. Chair, I move we approve lease agreement renewal number 10 between Cochise County and Northrop Grumman Systems Corporation for the leased premises in the expansion premises located at 6946 North Air Terminal Road, Douglas, Arizona, 85604 in the amount of $2,000 a month, effective May 1st, 2026 through April 30th, 2027.
Second.
All right, go Daryl, a quick explanation.
Just a continuance of a ongoing lease that we've had with Northrop Grumman out there at the airport. Basically, this is the 10th year. So it's just a renewal.
Can I ask a question?
Oh, sure.
Is that, where is exactly the terminal that they're leasing? Is it one of the old hangars or is it
But
that?
no,
other
they have
one?
that, all the way down at the very northeast end of the tarmac, they have their own little hangar that they built.
Okay, I just wanted
Plus,
to make
they
sure.
also have a small office space in the terminal.
Okay, that's what I thought. Thank you.
Any questions from Mr. Gillard?
No, sir.
None? All right, thank you, sir.
No,
Appreciate it. All right, any additional discussion? None? Hearing none, the motion before the board is to approve the lease agreement renewal between Cochise County and Northrop Grumman Systems Corporation for the amount of $2,000 per month. All those in favor say aye.
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 Aye. Motion carries 3-0. All right, now we'll go back to the main event for today, agenda item number 9. So can I get a motion to move agenda item number 9, please?
Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve ordinance 26-09, amending the Cochise County zoning regulations to define data center, require special use authorization in certain districts, and establish standards for their siting, development, and operation.
Second. All right. I will now open the public meeting and we will go to Ms. McLaughlin for an explanation, please.
Thank you. Good morning, Chair and Supervisors. This item is docket RZ 2601, a staff-initiated zoning text amendment to establish a definition, review process, and development standards for data centers. This item does not approve or authorize a data center project. The county does not currently have a data center application under review. Rather, this amendment establishes the framework the county would use to evaluate a proposal if one is submitted in the future. The purpose is to ensure the county has clear standards and a transparent review process in place before an application is received. Under the proposed regulations, any future data center would require a special use permit, undergo full public review, and be evaluated on its specific project merits. The Planning and Zoning Commission retains the authority to approve with conditions, or deny an application, as is the case with all special use requests in Cochise County. The board serves as the appeal board for special uses. The question before the board today is not whether a data center should be built, or even whether they are appropriate. The question is whether the county should have regulations in place to guide how a proposal would be reviewed if one is brought forward. It's also important to note the county is required to act on an application for a lawful land use that is submitted. Without regulations in place, the county would still need to process that request, but without clear standards, defined submittal requirements, or structured mitigation tools. This ordinance ensures the county is prepared to evaluate all future proposals in a consistent and defensible manner. Some members of the public have asked why the county does not simply prohibit data centers altogether, either permanently or temporarily. Under Arizona law, the county's role is to regulate land use, identifying appropriate locations and establishing standards to mitigate impacts. By establishing regulations now, the county ensures that any future proposal is carefully reviewed, that their impacts can be addressed through conditions, and that we as a county, through the Planning and Zoning Commission, retain full discretion to approve or deny a project based on its merits. Staff initiated this amendment in response to rapid expansion of large-scale data centers in Arizona and their associated infrastructure demands. Currently, the county zoning regulations do not define data centers or include development standards for them. This text amendment was first discussed at the January Planning and Zoning Commission meeting during a work session. During February, there was a joint board and commission meeting where staff was directed to prepare an ordinance. That ordinance was presented to the Planning and Zoning Commission in March at the regular meeting. It received unanimous support. This brings us to the second public hearing today. In short, this ordinance creates a definition, requires special use authorization, limits where the use can locate, and establishes development and operational standards. Overall, this approach ensures every project undergoes detailed site-specific review, avoids a one-fits-all standards, and allows the county to tailor conditions to actual impacts. It also keeps the ordinance adaptable as technology associated with data centers continues to evolve. The definition distinguishes large commercial data centers from smaller accessory server rooms that exist in many businesses around the county. So on this slide, you'll see the full proposed language. I won't read it, but I do want to note that any underlying text you see in this presentation is the actual language proposed in the zoning regulations. My approach to this presentation will be to explain each subsection first, and then show you exactly what will be adopted on the following slide. Data centers may only be considered in heavy industry, light industry, general business, and rural districts, and only through special use review. They are not permitted in any residential zoning district. Including rural districts recognizes that large-scale facilities often require significant land area, separation from residential uses, and access to infrastructure that may not be available on commercial or industrial parcels, which tend to be smaller and located closer to residential land use. At the same time, the special use process ensures that even in rural areas, each proposal is evaluated for site-specific compatibility and can be conditioned or denied if it is not appropriate for that location. The intent section explains why these standards exist and provides direction for how they should be applied, keeping decisions focused on compatibility, infrastructure, and public health and safety. The application section clearly clarifies where the regulations apply and what is excluded. It distinguishes large commercial data centers from small accessory server uses and makes clear that offsite infrastructure is subject to separate review. The ordinance requires detailed project-specific information upfront, including utility demand, water use, and operational details. All this information is provided at the applicant's expense, and the county may require additional studies proportional to the proposed impacts. This ensures decisions are based on real data, not assumptions, and allows the county to apply the most appropriate conditions. This slide shows the actual zoning language and implements those requirements and outlines exactly what must be submitted for review. You'll see site plan requirements, an operational narrative, utility information, noise studies, water use plans, fire protection information, and other studies if necessary. This slide summarizes how impacts are addressed through construction, site design, utilities, and operation standards. And these are the construction standards, which ensures temporary impacts like dust, noise, traffic, and lighting are properly managed during development. These can be large projects with extended construction schedules, so we're addressing that now. This section establishes site design compatibility requirements, including setbacks, screening, and site design compatibility, as well as fire protection. The development and operation standards continue on this slide, addressing hazardous material review, noise, lighting, traffic, utilities, and infrastructure. I will note all items in this section give the county tools to manage impacts over the life of the facility, not just at the time of approval. Finally, we have standards for potable water, telecommunications, and security. Potable water is only allowed if alternatives aren't feasible, and even then, the county can condition or deny a project based on its water impacts. So these were the key impacts identified within our work sessions. So I highlight them on this slide. Routine potable water used for cooling is restricted. Applicants must demonstrate utility capacity, and fire protection measures may be required where hydrants or fire flow are not available. Fuel and hazardous materials are also addressed through containment requirements, and the county may require annual inspection or certification where objective evidence supports it, soil or groundwater testing following a spill, release, or system failure. This was added in response to soil and groundwater impact concerns from the board and commission. Overall, these provisions were included to ensure the county has tools to address the main operational concerns that we have heard. This section establishes long-term accountability, including how approvals transfer with the land, how abandonment is determined, and when decommissioning is required. This slide shows the zoning language that defines the abandonment process, ensures conditions remain enforceable regardless of ownership. This section outlines decommissioning and financial assurances, allowing flexibility for reuse while ensuring the county can require cleanup or stabilization. Staff finds the amendment consistent with our newly approved comprehensive plan, particularly policies related to infrastructure, water availability, and compatibility. In summary, this ordinance defines data centers, requires special use review rather than by right approval, requires utility, water, and operational information upfront, provides standards for compatibility, safety, long-term management. This gives the county a clear process for evaluating proposals should they arise. Public comment submitted to data centers reflects strong interest regarding this issue. Concerns raised include water use, electricity demand, impacts on rural residents, domestic wells, long-term environmental impacts, adequacy of emergency services, tax incentives, whether the county should consider a moratorium rather than or in addition to moving forward with regulations at this time. Supportive comments, which were in the minority, generally emphasize economic development potential, construction employment, tax-based diversification, digital infrastructure, and the value of having a predictable regulatory framework in place. You have already heard and will likely continue to hear from members of the public today. This is a public hearing. In the past several weeks, there has been increasing interest in either permanent or temporary bans on data centers. Temporary bans are typically in the form of a moratorium, and the board chair issued a comprehensive response to that discussion last Friday. What I think everyone agrees on is that data centers, if proposed, should be carefully regulated. There are over 200 pages of comments attached to this item, and the board was individually copied on many emails prior to this hearing. Staff and the board understand the level of concern and appreciate the engagement from the community. This item does not approve a project. It establishes the framework the county would use to evaluate a proposal if one is submitted. Again, the question before you today is whether to adopt regulations that allow the county to review, condition, and if necessary, deny future data centers based on their impacts. The Planning and Zoning Commission unanimously recommended approval, and staff concurs with that recommendation. That concludes my presentation, and I'm available for questions. Again, this is a public hearing.
I'm going to give you a chance to comment, but do you have any questions specific to it? Go ahead.
So this is a framework, correct? And when I was in DC, I went to the National Associations of Counties meeting. They had lots of discussions about data centers. And I sent what we were proposing back to them, to the rural committee, to add and any concerns or any things that they think that we may have overlooked. And they basically sent a letter back saying we had done a great job, that very few had even brought in a decommissioning regulations into their county regulations on data centers. So I received the fact that we had done an incredible job on the ordinance that we had written. This is a framework. It can be amended, it can be changed as we go, into the future, as data centers may evolve and change. So this is not something set in stone, but can be expanded, can be changed, can be, what do I want to say? Different measures can be adopted into it as we see fit. But explain it to me, if we did not do these regulations and we did not vote for this today, what would happen or what could happen?
Through development services would need to be processed. And we would apply what standards we currently have in the zoning regulations to this. So all this additional stuff about public hearing requirements, fire mitigation, decommissioning,
Water impacts.
would not apply
Okay.
to any of it.
Thank you for that. That's all I have.
All right, I'm gonna address it as well. So everybody understands, right now, there is no specific ordinance related to data centers in Cochise County. We have a general development ordinance for people to submit building permits to apply for permits. That is currently the status right now. If a company were to come in here and acquire land and submit a permit without any ordinance whatsoever, those would be the ordinance guidelines that planning and zoning, our development services, and the board would have to go by. So to give you an example, and this is a very tangent example, the city of Phoenix did not have an ordinance regarding data centers. So they received an application for several data centers. And when that application process began, there was, for lack of a better term, a very robust opposition that was put forward. And the city basically implemented a bunch of post-submission restrictions and created a zoning ordinance that was basically prohibitive of data centers in Phoenix. They were immediately sued for $750 million, $108 million, and another one for $85 million. They submitted a request to the Attorney General for an opinion. The Attorney General said that they have a problem because they did not have an ordinance in place, that the previous ordinance is what they have to go by. So then, and I got it right here. This is the headline. This is out of the Phoenix Business Journal explaining what Phoenix did. And then the second article is the city of Phoenix negotiates with those developers that were suing them. And guess what they did? They just basically let them build what was the original permit without any restrictions. And they did it through a pretrial settlement agreement. So what we are trying to do is exactly what you're asking us to do. We are trying to protect the health and welfare of this county. We're trying to protect water in this county. We're trying to protect development and make sure it's done in the right places. We aren't going to let somebody come in here carte blanche. If we do not approve the ordinance today, that's what exactly will happen. And we'll get sued. And unlike Phoenix, we don't have $750 million. And the tax rate in this county would be impossible to pay that. And it's beyond our insurance premium. So we would be on the hook for that. And I'm not one, I don't know about my colleagues, to throw this county under the legal bus just to satisfy folks who don't fully understand what we're trying to do here. So let me explain in more detail a little bit here. We are thinking ahead rather than being reactionary. I know that's strange maybe for some folks in Cochise County or in the state of Arizona, because it seems that the county government or state government seems to be better when it reacts, but we're not reacting. We know this is coming. We're watching the development of these things slowly moving down the I-10 corridor from Phoenix down through Pinal County, down through Pima County. And whether we like it or not, there will be companies, because we have 6,200 square miles of land, only which 300 square miles is developed in this county. We have a lot of vacant land in this county. We have a lot of farm and ranch land in this county that's susceptible to being purchased in this county. Okay, unlike some of the other more populated counties, we have a beautiful opportunity for data centers here, and we see that. So rather than wait until we receive an application, which we would have to apply the current ordinances to, we are being proactive, and we're seeking public input, and we're going to hear some of that today. But this is an ongoing process. This is only the beginning. I do not foresee an application for a data center this year. I don't think we may even see one in 2027. It may be late in 27, but in likelihood, 2028 is when we're going to see probably an application for a data center. It would be smart to have something in place, at least some guidelines and some restrictions and some requirements as far as permitting goes, for them to conform to before they're issued the permit. That's what we're here to discuss today. Not a yes or a no, and there is no answer. Okay, so what I'm asking the public is provide us constructive input on reasonable, and also the restrictions have to be reasonable, because under Prop 207, which was approved by the voters in 2008, if the government puts unreasonable restrictions on private property, we will get sued for that as well. And we will lose, as the Attorney General mentions in her opinion. Prop 207 is voter protected. So the legislature can't even change it, let alone a county. Okay, so if that's the case, we have to follow the guidelines that are coming down from the state. And any lawful business that applies for a permit, a development permit in this county, has to be given reasonable opportunity to make mitigations in order to meet the requirements for that permit. If we put unreasonable ones like the city of Phoenix did, we're bringing a lawsuit, and we will lose that lawsuit. We will not win that lawsuit, because Phoenix realized they weren't going to win that lawsuit, and they immediately entered in negotiation with those developers to cut a deal before they ended up in court. So that's the situation that we're in right now. We are here to take input from you on how to better improve this ordinance reasonably and to protect the various resources in this county as best as we can. That is the purpose of what we're doing here today. Do you have anything you'd like to add, sir?
I do. And I would like to say
Sure.
that I've observed that although she's modest, Ms. McLaughlin has demonstrated a very high level of competency in writing regulations. I believe that she understands the gravity of the issue. I would expect that Ms. McLaughlin's work will become a template, and Ms. Gomez used the term framework for other municipalities. And she, to quote her, she mentioned concerns from the board and commissions. That concludes my comments.
All right. So let's start this process of discussion and reasonable conditions for the permitting process and ordinances related to zoning for data centers. So with that, I will call the first person to speak. Let me go find that form again. And that is Karen Phasm Power. Karen, are you still here? know
I
you're
am.
here.
Thank you.
Oh, there you are, ma'am. You have 3 minutes.
Thank you. Data centers are not a get out of jail free card for Cochise County's economic problems. In fact, they will worsen the county's water situation, which is at the heart of the broader economic crisis here. On the currently proposed ordinance 2609, I applaud the requirement of a special use authorization for data centers. However, there are no standards or guardrails included. There are only general requirements for plans and analysis, which is left up to the applicant with no real standards given. This leaves every decision up to the Planning and Zoning Commission. Stronger guardrails and conditions to protect our utilities and water must be put in place. This should be done once at the ordinance level so that it applies to all applications. To expect the Planning and Zoning Commission to make these complex decisions application by application makes no sense and will lead to bad outcomes for the county. In addition, data center companies must be required to make financial assurances through bonds when their application is accepted, not after they are already operating or failing, as the current ordinance suggests. By then, it will be too late, and Cochise County will be on the hook for more expenses and negative outcomes that could have been avoided. These guardrails and assurances must be put into place now. We cannot wait until there are active applications. Once applications are submitted, there will be no way to stop them under this ordinance because the process defined has no protections. If it seems that the board doesn't want to put standards in place now because it doesn't want to dissuade data centers from building here. And when there are applications, if the ordinance isn't refined, they will likely to be approved with no guardrails in place. Please revisit this and revise this ordinance to include guardrails and assurance requirements that have teeth. This technology is changing very rapidly, and if we don't make well-informed and well-reasoned decisions about data centers, the county is likely to end up with yet more large abandoned properties and significant negative consequences for the county's economic prospects, for our water, and for the quality of life for our people. Thank you.
All right, next up is Samuel Klein. Mr. Klein, do you want to speak? Mr. Klein, not here. Clay Greathouse. Mr. Greathouse, are you?
He is here. I'm here.
Oh, there you are, sir. All right.
Clay Greathouse, 3141 South Helen Rose Avenue in Tombstone. I appreciate what the supervisor just educated us on. I just say quite often I bounce around this county all over, and I just want to comment that it seems like, it's a hot discussion. And I would say about 95% of the people I talk to are opposed to data centers altogether. I think you kind of realize that, but I just wanted to share one tale I had told to me, and it was at the bar, the Monument Ranch by Tombstone. And there was a gentleman there, and he had got talking with him, seemed to be a pretty knowledgeable, well-to-do person. We talked about horses and what have you, but found out he was been in the software business since 1983. And so after talking to him a little more, I asked him, I said, what is your opinion of AI? And he says, honestly, I use AI every day of my life. It has really shortened and made my job a whole lot easier. But I feel that it will be the death of mankind. So I don't know if there's a way to put morality into this whole thing, but that's, I guess, the only thing I'd add. All right, thank you.
All right, thank you, sir. Next up, we have Mr. Bruce Tassin. Mr. Tassin, are you present or online? Bruce, going once, going twice, not here. Next up is Cato Daly. Oh, there we go.
Thank you for the opportunity to speak in front of you today. I am not against data centers, and I really appreciate that the county is evaluating impacts that these centers have on their surroundings and developing a framework to determine if the data center is appropriate in a proposed location. And as we know, the one criteria that's critically important is water availability. Given that Cochise County relies on groundwater, and in most locations, the groundwater supplies are in deficit, resulting in dry wells, property devaluation, soil compaction, lifestyle changes, and other detrimental impacts, the county must set a high bar on water management than is currently in the draft ordinance. The county must require data centers have a net zero water management plan. This means that the data center must replenish the same amount of groundwater or surface water it consumes, so there's a net zero equation on water use. This practice is not new, and even the federal government promotes net zero in water, electricity, and waste management in communities and on military installations. Cochise County does not have water to spare. Our water supplies are already in deficit. Cochise County cannot move forward with data centers or any high water consuming industry without requiring a net zero water management plan. And you as our representatives must first be responsible to us, your constituents, Cochise County residents, and our water welfare. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you, ma'am. Next up is Jennifer Druckman. Ms. Druckman. You have 3 minutes, ma'am.
Good morning. Thank you. I'm from Bisbee. I came in a few minutes late because I was listening online and things got changed around. I heard Mr. Antonori say that it's illegal in the state to institute a moratorium on data centers. So I Googled that and it said, yes, it is legal to institute a moratorium on data centers, but it requires meeting high legal standards, such as providing documented shortage of essential infrastructure or a imminent threat to health and safety. So then I referred to the statement compiled by the Planning and Zoning Commission that was submitted to you requesting a moratorium. And their first item was the identification of a compelling need. They find that immediate and significant threat to public health, safety, and welfare exists due to the current surge in data center development inquiries, and a moratorium is necessary based on the following imminent resource constraints. Aquifer sustainability. Data center cooling requirements often total millions of gallons of water daily, pose an immediate threat to the domestic water supply and agricultural viability of Cochise County, particularly within the Douglas and Wilcox Basin. I think that when you have highways such as 191 developing huge fissures the size of a car could fall into, we would have an imminent threat regarding our water situation. So what the current ordinance proposes, I would like to make some suggestions to change. I would like to strictly prohibit any use of potable water except for bathroom and kitchen use. The proposed ordinance that you have doesn't require demonstration of the source of water supply, annual water consumption, and impact on local wells or aquifers. I believe that the changes needed would require an applicant to provide at their expense hydrological assessments by qualified independent third party selected by the county, not the applicant, to address these issues. I would also suggest that you require applicants to provide water consumption mitigation plan as a binding condition of any special use application. So those are some suggestions. I also received the same exact email as the previous speaker in a reply from Ms. Gomez. So I don't know what all that was about, canned responses. Thank you very much.
May I reply?
Thank you, ma'am. You can reply.
Okay, so believe it or not, there are a lot of things going on in this job, and I did carefully craft a letter, which in working on the Hill, we did all the time. I cannot read everyone's 5-page letter to address every issue, but what I did do was craft a letter to send out to those people, telling them my concerns and my views. So if it didn't exactly hit every point that you wanted, it's impossible for me to do all the other things. And I'm not saying that not concerned about data centers, but I'm doing Port of Authority Board. We're doing, transportation issues. I've got a lot of other crises like county roads. So I can spend a certain amount of time on data centers. I spent a lot of time when I was in DC. So I don't do this lightly. And I do craft it to try to answer as much as I can. But I can't be working at 9 o'clock or 12 o'clock at night on answering 25 issues in one email. I'm sorry, there's just one of me. I don't have any assistants. It's just what I can do and try to do my job well. So it's not canned, and it's not a template from somewhere else, and it's not AI generated. Thank you.
If I could just add, I think this might also help out. So a lot of people are making assumptions that the design for data centers that's been implemented on the East Coast, or basically east of the Mississippi, is the same design that's going to be used here. We met and we've been having meetings with power companies. We had a company that was a data center company that was not planning on building a data center in Arizona. So we went to them for an impartial sort of input from them. They provided several designs that use little to no water. Okay, so you're making the assumption that we're going to use an evaporative cooling data center. And that, I do not want evaporative cooling. I don't want anything using 46,000 gallons a day of water, or 1 million gallons a year, or whatever it may be. I mean, we're not that stupid. Okay, we don't want it either. But there are designs out there that one is a refrigerator based. It's an air cooled design that uses zero water, other than, like this lady said, bathroom and kitchen. They've already have a design in place. And the one company we spoke to, she said they haven't designed an evaporative cooling data center since 2023. And all the new data center designs that they're doing all right now are closed loop cooling or refrigerative cooling. They are not doing evaporative cooling no more. That was an East Coast thing. Now, several of the data centers that were built in Maricopa County were based on those old designs. And initially, that's the way they were built. And of course, they received significant public outcry. And guess what? We heard it. We heard the public outcry. We aren't going to approve data centers in this county that use 1 million gallons of water a year. But we have to have some basic guidelines in place. And unlike some people, I actually think our Planning and Zoning Commission does a reasonable job. And I think they're intelligent enough. Some of them have engineering backgrounds. Some of them have real estate backgrounds, farming, ranching backgrounds. We have a pretty diverse Planning and Zoning Commission. And I put the trust in them to do the research on each of the permits that are put forward with the assistance of our development services staff to make reasonable decisions. Okay, so we are not placing the burden solely on them. The board is drafting ordinances, and I actually appreciate the inputs from the lady that offered the suggestion. And I actually think we may add some of these as we get this baseline ordinance in place. We will then continue to add and amend as we receive. And I received a couple inputs from some other folks in emails that I'm also, I actually forwarded to Ms. McLaughlin, that we are going to look at adding amendments to this ordinance as we progress through this process. We've got about a year to do this. And I think before we receive the first formal request, because it's probably going to happen. But we have plenty of time to do that. The other thing with electricity, and I'm meeting tonight with Jorge Kanaka. He is the new CEO of Grand Canyon State Electric Co-op. And Ms. Gomez and I and Mr. Crosby, we've been dealing with all the recent development of power generation in this county, which includes solar, which includes gas turbine. We have a new 48-inch natural gas pipeline that's going through the northern part of this county, and several electric companies and co-ops have looked at putting gas turbine generation in, which is a much smaller footprint than solar. And they're talking about using that process. But the one thing that we got out of them, and all three of them, we spoke with the G&T CEO, we spoke with SSVEC, we spoke with APS, and we spoke with I'm going to speak tonight with Mr. Kanaka. They agreed that they will not allow any infrastructure costs to be part of their rate calculation with the Corporation Commission. So what does that mean? That means if a data center needs 400 megawatts of power And SSVEC has to provide that 400 megawatts of power. They will provide an estimate to that data center for what it will take to build 400 megawatts of power generation. That capital investment will be made by that data center. That will be an isolated power supply system for that data center that will be not part of the grid. And we requested that specifically from these guys so that, unlike in other counties, we don't pass off infrastructure costs onto the regular residential and commercial utility ratepayers, which is you guys who pay your electric bill. So we have put it in here that this is they will have a sole standalone dedicated source of power that is not related to the grid. And some data centers will actually build their own power supplies, and they will be off grid and they will not be connected to the grid. So they will not impact utility rates. I don't want my electric bill to go up either. I don't want my kids' electric bill to go up. I mean, none of us want to see that, especially with industry creating that occurrence. So we are making it so those industries have to pay for that. They will pay for the utility. They will pay for the infrastructure, the solar panels, the gas turbine generators, or someday the nuclear power plants to power these data centers. And none of that will be passed on to the consumer. That will be part of the permitting application process, as well as a fire control plan, a risk mitigation plan, an environmental control plan. All of this is what we're trying to implement, none of which exists currently, by the way. I want to add that this is the problem we're trying to address proactively. So don't automatically assume that every data center is this behemoth. And we're talking, if they do come here, they're probably small. They're probably 200 megawatt, 300, 400 megawatt. They're not the gigawatt meta data centers. They have to be, as what that lady said, they have to be in a tier 1 area.
Tier 1, yeah.
Tier 1 area. We are not a tier 1 area. Tier 1 area is Phoenix. Okay, we're a tier 2 area. So if we see data centers, they're going to be smaller data centers. They're going to be for credit card processing, website hosting, streaming services, and whatnot. They're not going to be for these big AI systems. Those are the Metas and the Amazons and the Groks, and all those are done at hyperscale. They're like 1 gig of power or bigger. So we're not talking about that here. We're talking about small to medium sized data centers that have other purposes. And literally everybody that uses a phone, you're using a data center. And I find it ironic because Ms. Gomez says all the people on Facebook, Meta is one of the biggest data center makers in the country. What a hypocrisy to empower and help Zuckerberg get more money to build more data centers by using these platforms. All right, I'm done pontificating. Let me move on to the next speaker. Next up, we have oh, I forgot who we left out. Who was that? Who was that? Miss Daly, right? Is that who we left off? Oh, Druckmann. I'm sorry. So, Miss Morse, you're back up.
Thank you again for allowing me to speak. I'm wearing a safety vest because I think this is a very important decision you're making. And I think the safety of everyone here in this county should be considered very carefully. The safety and the well-being, including our water source. I'm not going to even read my speech because there's a couple of things that I'd like to address that was just mentioned. First of all, it wasn't clear that these ordinances would be amended and that you would be taking our comments into consideration. We have spent a lot of time and a lot of research in looking into how to fortify the regulations. I want to give a shout out to Ms. McLaughlin. The ordinance is incredible. It's remarkable. I don't oppose it. I want to see safeguards in place. I think everybody here wants to see safeguards in place. I think our only concern is that they may not be strong enough to address the concerns of this county, particularly water. And as the memo that initiated the memorandum stated, that is a critical problem. If you want to look at the maps that ADWR has, the colorful maps, I mean, they're incredible. They overlap I-10 quite significantly in the Wilcox area, the San Simon area, the San Pedro area. They may not be AMAs in the San Pedro or the San Simon, but there is serious subsidence and fissures and wells have gone dry. We live in Portal. We are very farther south, obviously, than I-10, many of our wells are going dry. We don't even have agricultural stuff around us to speak of. It's mostly cattle ranching. So it's not just, it's the climate. I mean, we're not getting the rain that we used to. We're not getting the moisture from the sky. So the groundwater and the reserves are not being replenished. They're being depleted. Sorry, I don't mean to bump into the microphone. So this is why it's a concern. And nobody should expect Ms. McLaughlin, who is an exceptionally well-trained, and I can't say enough about her, should expect her to do hydrological studies on the area. That's beyond her pay rate, her pay scale, obviously, and a bunch of other things. Who is going to do the studies on the impacts of human health, right? The sound, the lights, the emissions. I mean, people are getting cancer by living close to these data centers. As someone said, there are heat islands that are created. Thank you.
Hang on, Ms. Morse. I got a question for you. So do you have an objective, reasonable amount of water that you would permit? Let's say, is there a number in your head that?
Of course, it's not a number. Is my mic still on?
Yeah.
I don't have a number, but I think the net, whatever Ms. Daly said, makes sense, right? We have submitted multiple suggestions on how to fortify and strengthen the incredible ordinance that you are going to vote on. They seem to be dismissed because we've gotten no comments back, but they were compiled into a table, a 2-column table, which I know was sent to you by Ms. Lisa Glenn, who's not here. I participated in that. Another person here participated in that, and the Chiricahua Regional Council participated in that, and another individual participated in that. We have been researching, we have been doing our due diligence because we're concerned. And it is very discouraging when we get in one of your 2 words, canned responses or no response. We are your constituents because you're making decisions for the entire county. So it's very upsetting when you do not pay attention to what we are saying.
Okay. So what I'm getting at is, say Ms. Gomez is working on building a new hospital down in Douglas, and hospitals, believe it or not, use a lot of water. All right. So
hospitals don't use a lot of water?
Oh, no, they use a lot.
I was going to say.
No, that's what I said.
Okay, I didn't hear you.
Yeah, hospitals use a lot of water. High schools use a lot of water. They fill Olympic swimming pools. Hospitals
are helping people. They're helping sick people.
I got you, but where is the line? Do we say
I can't answer that question for you, Mr. Antonori. I have been doing everything I can every single day from morning till night to answer this, to address this problem.
Have to answer.
That's not my job, okay?
Oh, that's
I'm
our
doing
job.
enough.
That's
Yeah,
what
you're being paid. I'm not.
I got you. That's our job, and that's what we're trying to determine by getting the public input here. All right, next up is Cheryl Knott. Cheryl Knott.
I live in Pierce. I've been there for about 25 years. My comment is about item 5J, which says that potable water shall not be used for routine cooling or humidification unless the applicant demonstrates that non-potable or reclaimed water is not reasonably available. In practical terms, this means that our drinking water can be used by data centers because there simply is not enough non-potable water that's available or feasible to use. Drinking water in Cochise County is groundwater. Groundwater is finite in a desert area. Wastewater itself is a valuable resource. Sierra Vista uses its effluent to recharge their aquifer by about 880 million gallons a year. Would Sierra Vista be willing to give up any or all of their current recharge for a data center? Not likely. So the data center nearby would default to using potable water. The city of Wilcox uses its wastewater for irrigation and to replenish Lake Cochise, which attracts sandhill cranes. The city of Douglas is working on wastewater reclamation and distribution and developing groundwater recharge systems. Phoenix and Tucson are using wastewater for they're investing in converting wastewater into drinking water, and we no doubt will see more of that in our state. In rural areas, there is no reclaimed water to use. A data center on raw land would require drilling new wells, creating additional pressure on stressed aquifers. Data centers should only be allowed on land where they will be replacing an existing operation that uses more water than the data center will. For the county ordinance to say that data centers cannot use potable water unless non-potable water isn't available, it sounds really good. In practice, I think item 5J would allow data centers to use potable water. And that's just what's in the regulation, the proposed regulation, not what we think will happen in the future. In our county, that water can only come from our already threatened aquifers. So I would just respectfully urge you all to amend the ordinance to allow only data centers that do not depend on water for cooling or for energy uses. In other words, net zero water use. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, ma'am. Next up, we have Jennifer Schmidt. Ms. Schmidt, are you on Teams?
Yes,
There you are,
I'm
ma'am.
on Teams.
You have 3 minutes.
Okay, my first point is I request that voting on this ordinance today be tabled. And here are my reasons why. Number one, the special use permit that has been amended on October 21st, 2025, directly affects this ordinance in that almost every part of this ordinance calls for a special use permit. As of now, that special use permit requirement sends that vote back to your board for approval. I have a suspicion that that would be approved. So everything in the special use permit category does not go to planning and zoning, has less votes to pass, and no one else has any say in it. That's wrong. We deserve to be representative. We deserve to have a public vote, and we deserve transparency. As a human being, this ordinance is not a gift. It's a complete insult. I am actually hurt as a human to think that RU zoning is included as this, which means they go into residential areas as neighbors. That is a public health outcry and is wrong. Third point is, let me see, I lost my place. Who cleans up an abandoned site? As of now, word in the ordinance, it takes a year to even be thought of as abandoned. And then there are certain steps has to be done to even get it to the point where it can be cleaned up. That's wrong. We are not responsible for that. Water needs to be used for the fire protection part of this ordinance. They are required to have a certain amount of water on site for fire protection. How much? How much water? The fact that Mr. Antonori has stated several times today that he does not see a data application proposal going forward for at least a year or two means that this fear mongering to pass this ordinance does not apply. If this ordinance passes, we are in worse trouble than if it doesn't. So the fear mongering doesn't apply if we go on Mr. Antonori's words as he spoke to today.
Thank you, ma'am. Appreciate it.
You're
All
welcome.
right, next up is someone that has no last name, but they go by Ronnie. So whoever you are, Ronnie, when you come up, or if you're online, I don't know, please state your full name and where you're from, if you don't mind. Are you there, Ronnie? Anybody named Ronnie?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, Ronnie, what's your last name?
Well, I don't know why you don't have my last name. I wrote it out. But
It didn't
it's
show up on the
Maestas-
form. Sorry.
It's Maestas Condos.
Oh, okay. I
And
know who you are. Yeah.
yeah, okay. Wow, so much has been said and I wrote up something, but everybody else has said it better than me. I think what my main concern is about transparency and in this whole process. And I think you guys are really trying to do your best to live up to that. Having the public meetings, which are required anyway, but today I got a lot more information. Like you guys had a meeting, like you disclosed a few minutes ago, with companies that are interested, like the data center companies you said, and the energy companies. So all this stuff is going on, but I didn't have any of that information. And I know it went on, but there was a lot of stuff that happened that the public isn't aware of. So that was very good. You put that out today. And what I want to encourage is more of that. And, you know, I am concerned about the whole water thing, but supposedly there's new technology. I hope that is, you know, what happens if they have to happen here. Let's see what else. I don't know. I just want to encourage that more transparency, more input. You know, we can't have a moratorium, so they say, but that doesn't preclude more research and more information coming out. And I'm glad we are collaborating on this. I'm glad it's not just in the hands of a few people. The other thing is, I know it's a big money thing that people are concerned about, like bringing in more tax dollars, bringing in more revenue, but that can't just be the only impetus. Okay, that's all I have to say. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, ma'am. Next up is Shauna Gall. Miss Gall, are you here?
Yes, I'm online. Can you hear me?
Oh, you're online. There you are. Go ahead, ma'am.
So I'm a resident and business owner in Cochise and Pierce, and also an electrical engineer. I believe we are at crossroads that will define the legacy of this board, but also the future of our Sulphur Springs Valley for the next 50 years. Too often we see our communities in conflict with their officials because they feel sidelined by growth, but I believe we can do this differently. So first, as most, water is our lifeblood. I believe we should move forward with net zero water usage. But if not, I think we need to look at the January 2026 Riverview settlement and make that our blueprint to mandate some sort of well mitigation fund. That way, when their neighboring wells go dry or towns are having issues with waters, we have money that we can go for, and they can help out with that. Also, I further believe in the cost isolation. We must guarantee that 100% of the infrastructure upgrades are paid by them. And I appreciate the work that you are going and researching that with the local utility companies. Because if done right, there has been instances where electric rates go down because of data centers, because they are a steady load for the electric co-ops. Second, there should be a visible symmetry between the developers' capabilities and our community's quality of life. I think our task districts need to be funded better. Our schools, our libraries, our fire departments, our roads, our flood districts. I think it's an irony that we're asking these cooling giants to come in while the Sunsites Library and our local VFW post are fundraising for AC units. I think we need to utilize development agreements so we can bolster our community enhancement funds through the county. That way we can finally have sidewalks in our town. We can finally have a public restroom at our local community parks that are not just porta-johns like in Sunsites. We should be able to fund our rural schools, fund science labs, fund after-school programs. A lot of our rural schools are missing that. Let's give our kids these tools to find their niche and complete in a digital economy without ever having to leave this valley that they love. Also, I think we need to prioritize adaptive reuse. Let's not build these mega campuses. Let's incentivize these developers to revitalize the eyesores, such as the old bank and Sunsites. Growth must fix what is broken. We must act as stewards. We cannot allow these structures to become the abandoned mines of the digital age. Under ARS 11-1101, we must require decommissioning bonds that are held in escrow. So that way, this isn't left for our children to deal with. So these corporations are coming here for our land and for our tax incentives. But they may seem like they're in the middle of nowhere, but they're in our backyard. If they want the benefit of doing business in Cochise, they must provide a benefit that is felt on our streets and in our homes. Let's lead the way in showing
Thank you,
Arizona
ma'am.
and our communities officials can build a future.
Thank you, ma'am. Your time is up. I appreciate your comment. Next up is Donna Quisenberry. Miss Quisenberry here? Oh, yes, she is. Okay. All right, ma'am, you have 3 minutes.
First, I'd like to commend you all for being proactive on the data center issue. I believe you have a good start with the regulation that is proposed, but I have a lot of questions. I know that you can't respond, but I want to make sure that
Actually, we could. We could respond. It's a public hearing and the supervisors are allowed to engage during public hearings.
Okay.
So we could.
So, I will go ahead. What sticks out to me most is the first red flag is that 2.03.03.0 specifically does not address solar facilities with battery storage. That's a huge red flag for me.
Hang on 1 second. Pause our time, Laura. So, Christine, we have a separate ordinance that we've been developing specifically for solar that are.
Well, that's good to hear.
That is separate. So we have a separate ordinance, just so everybody's aware.
Well, that would be one of my questions. Is
Right, and then Ms. Gomez.
Separate ordinance for that.
Yeah, Ms. Gomez has been working on that and adding some additional requirements, which includes some of the environmental testing prior to installation, as well as the mitigation afterwards, as well as reclamation and the new bond schedule to ensure that the bond increases with the rate of inflation to remove anything and restore the land back. And that's what we're putting in the solar ordinance, which is a separate ordinance.
Very good. Thank you
Okay.
for that information.
And not give it preference to being on a transmission line, which is what we had originally, giving them preference of, to be able to locate near a transmission line. So that is taken out too. So if you go to the comprehensive plan and read solar and renewable energies, you'll see all the changes.
Okay.
Okay,
Well-
so you could restart her clock, or from 2 minutes. She's got 2 minutes. You got 2 minutes. Keep going.
Okay.
All right.
So, next is the battery storage, the solar systems with battery storage centers. There's already two. There's one in Babakamori, and there's one for Wilcox that is in the process right now. Not to mention that they're all going to go into Sonzia and Rio Sol and TEP and GNT, and what I'm hearing is APS. Anyway, all of those other ones, are any of you say that you're talking to each other, but do you have any authority over the state land lease that's going up? Okay, so
we have a
that makes
limited authority for some of the stuff that goes above the land, but the land department regulates a lease.
Exactly.
That's a
So
huge
your
concern.
regulations won't have anything to do with any of the state property, which is what I wanted to point out to you. So getting down to your regulations, my concern is nowhere do you talk about the effluent coming out of these facilities. What is it? How is it going to be treated? Where is it going to go? And then my next question is, since you brought up the water issue, do you even have the legal ability on the San Pedro River to grant water rights? No, you don't.
Nope.
So, really, again, I commend you for what you're doing, but you're being overwritten by the state. And it really, really diminishes your credibility.
So just to add, oh, did you have any more?
I'm done.
Oh, okay. We defeated a bill that was in the legislature this year that would have preempted counties on development for data centers. And a lot of people may not know that. We actually advocated against that bill that was in the state legislature that took away the authority of counties to regulate nuclear power and data centers. And that bill was defeated in committee. We were able to get that bill defeated. And we sit on the County Supervisors Association, CSA, and it was a unanimous vote by the CSA board not to support that bill and actually actively oppose it. So people get perceptions of, and I think incorrectly, of where we are on this issue. We are proactively working to keep government as close to you guys, as the people, as possible. Because if not, if we start summarily just rejecting everything, we're going to get
dealing with
preempted.
the state, believe me,
Yeah, they will-
and the city of Benson.
They will preempt
and
us.
now you guys get me. So
Yeah, we will be
this is-
preempted.
I would like.
So-
Thank you.
Right.
I would like more cooperation between all of the governments. And, for the state to be telling me that I'm pumping my irrigation illegally, but then let them truck water guarantee water for 100 years to Buckeye. I'm sorry, and I understand that this is out of your control, but this is, as a registered tax-paying citizen, this is my concern, and credibility with all areas of government has gone out the window. So thank you very much.
I appreciate it.
And I will be attending more meetings.
Well, I just wanted to bring up another thing. The governor just approved an 80,000 home development in Pinal County to build 80,000 houses.
For a data center.
Well, they've got quite a few data centers up there. And then there was another effort. I forgot what I'm trying to recall off the butt. I have so much data in my brain. I can't remember it all the time. But there was another approval about 45,000 homes in Maricopa County. And I talked to Dylan about this. I would love to sue the state for our piece of the CAP water, because the treaty, the Lower Colorado River Treaty, says that allocation is the state of Arizona's allocation, not Maricopa, Pinal, and Pima County's allocation. So they're getting 3 million acre feet of water out of the Colorado River, and we're getting none. And then they come down here and they impose restrictions on us and actually try to steal our water to give to the Gila Indians or give to other entities. Meanwhile, they have an unregulated, actually 4 million, because Yuma gets a separate allocation. So they get 4 million acre feet of Colorado River water, and only 4 counties benefit from that. Meanwhile, they impose on us, and
Exactly.
you, as you've experienced.
And midterms are coming up. Everyone remember,
So-
midterms are coming up.
So that's the restriction that's in place. So I appreciate it.
So could I just address the email issue and all of that? When you only have 3 minutes to discuss something, it's really hard to get the information across.
Yeah.
Like 50 people in it.
Yeah.
Pardon me?
We have 56 people.
I understand that, but how else can we present the amount of information that we have to you
You can ask
in
for
3 minutes?
You can ask for a meeting. So I've been meeting quite a few constituents, and I mean the staff. Can
So
tell
I
you.
can ask for a personal meeting.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. We'll try to get, I drive around, I spend Friday is my constituent day. I drive around my district on Friday, meeting with constituents most of the day on Friday is my constituent day. So have you
ever been to Cascabel? And are you aware of the Cascabel Road? And now it's being used. It's been used as a bypass for Tucson by TEP, APS, G&T, and other unnamed vehicles and with overweight equipment on the back.
You're in Benson, correct?
Pardon me?
You're in Benson?
No, I live in Cascabel, 23 miles north of Benson.
Call down, get with Laura. She's the clerk of the board, and she'll check my calendar, and we'll set some time. I'll be happy to sit down. We can meet at Denny's and get a cup of coffee. or something. All
I
right.
would rather come to you. So
All the way out to Dragoon? You want to come all the way out to Dragoon? There's
anyway,
nothing out
but
there.
you will get,
Thing,
okay,
thing.
I will.
Oh, the
ask you-
thing. We could go to the thing.
I will invite you out. You'll be welcome.
Can-
All right.
I'm sure.
Can I just like to make a statement?
Uniforms and that will really make an impression.
I'd like to make a statement that I am surprised that this audience has not done anything on the state land trust that's 1,000 acres in the middle of Sierra Vista. We have no authority over it, but that's going to be a huge solar farm right next to a school, right smack in the residents of Sierra Vista. And I'm shocked that not one person has gone against that
No
30-year
one
lease.
thinks about it.
Yeah.
Well,
And
we
it's
talked about
It's
it.
also just west of the San Pedro house.
Right. So
All right.
It's covered
All right,
nationally.
Time out. I mean, we're getting off topic. I don't want to get my attorneys giving me the funny look that we're violating open meeting law by talking on topics not related. We can't talk about stuff that's not on the agenda. So we gotta
they
be,
brought it up.
all right, we gotta be careful here. So next up, Dan Baker. Oh, there's Dan. Dan, where are you from?
Dan Baker, Environmental Testing USA.
Oh, okay. But where do you live in the county?
I'm in
right?
McNeil, I'm in
Oh, okay.
Cochise. But yeah, like we've got an issue here. Transparency disappeared on the 23rd when there was a quorum. You all met with the data center. You all met with corporations outside the body of your constituents from the Board of to planning and zoning to this. To me, going outside of a quorum where you, like me, I write about toxins, remember? And you guys were educated by their salespeople. So therefore, we see where the education is. Who holds you guys? I mean, I've never really seen people sell out their constituents, but I see it. At one time, there was somebody back there that I believed in. And now I see where it is. Regardless, Google has just paid, because it's full of toxins, to people they were killing next to the establishments. You can Google it too. But yeah, we have 164 data centers here. There's only so much porn you guys can house in one of them things. But hey, that's what you guys are into, just more money. You can't eat money. Remember, at the end of times, you can't eat money. No matter how much you guys praise that your God is money. See, I speak for the trees that have no voice as you guys strip it here. Of course, I'm against that new establishment going up. But even to this day, you guys allow them to lie on applications. So when you're lying on applications and you facilitate bullshit paperwork in front of everybody here, like you guys are all on the up and up, but they can lie on applications and then, forbid one of your constituents have a tent on their own land, you're going to kick them out. But here's the thing. You're right. Voting is coming up. And I sure see faces that don't represent people here. Thank you, the ones that do, because toxins don't care. Toxins don't care who you are, what you represent. For years, I've been saying the same thing, you see, and we still don't have data analytics for it. We are the first to put it in the National Science Foundation. Can you believe that? But yet, you want to go talk to their experts. But I'm telling you, we're the first in it. And one more last time, if you guys remember, I see stuff. Now the whole system you're using against me, and now you guys are fabricating, it's going to come back to bite you in the ass. Remember, the truth shall prevail. And I am the truth. We are the truth. There are people that voted you in.
Unbelievable.
Thanks, Dan.
Yeah.
I appreciate the passion. Christine Atchison.
Hello.
Oh, she's online?
Yes.
Oh, Miss Atchison, you have 3 minutes.
Okay. What I wanted to bring up today are the impacts that we don't hear about, but our bodies feel them. The low frequency noise and the infrasound these facilities produce. The data centers run nonstop, and their cooling systems and the industrial fans create a low frequency vibrations. We can't hear it, but our bodies do react to it. The studies linked to this are cardiovascular issues, significant mental health degradation, the cognitive impairment, It is really a health concern. The language of the ordinance, it implies that a data center could legally operate 40 feet from somebody's bedroom window. That poor family who's there would have no way to protect itself from the effects of the infrasound or the air pollutants or any other hazards that are being produced by the data centers. That brings me to the setbacks. The ordinance only allows the minimum. It's a 40-foot setback in RU4. I'm not sure about the other RUs that it's allowed in, but 40 feet is way too close for an industrial facility with diesel generators, hazardous materials, and the nonstop mechanical vibrations. The language may require increased setbacks, really isn't enough protections. I think we need to have the greater fixed setbacks in the ordinances. We also need answers about the blowdown water. The data centers produce wastewater full of treatment chemicals and dissolved solids. In RU land, they don't have any wastewater system to handle the millions of gallons of contaminated water. So where does it go? If it infiltrates, it goes straight back into the aquifer that we rely on for clean water. This is why we need baseline testing. It's essential. Without the baseline testing, the county cannot measure changes over time. There's a lot of vague language in the ordinance, and it seems to cater to developers and not give enough protections to the community. I just think we need more time to sort out this language, right? So we don't create problems down the road. I'm just asking, maybe we can table this agenda until we get the right language in. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. All right, next up is Shira Braderman. Ms. Braderman.
Thank the board for your time. My name is Shira Braderman. I'm a resident of Bisbee. Supervisor Antonori, your point is well taken that this ordinance is a proactive measure to empower the county to regulate data centers. I do appreciate that. I simply argue, as many have before me, that it is not enough. The proposed amendment does not go nearly far enough in regulating data centers and falls short of what the residents of Cochise County deserve, as we are the people who will bear the consequences of data centers that we know to be harmful. The proposed amendment does little more than provide guidelines for developers to get their data center projects approved, and it does nothing to force companies to comply with the plans that have been approved once construction begins. This amendment also proposes minimal regulations once the data centers are operational. It is irresponsible to the highest degree to allow data centers to be built with no regulation around their daily operation and no consequences for deviating from their original sustainability plans. Furthermore, the county's power of enforcement amounts to little more than the ability to impose fines. And as long as a corporation can make more money breaking the law than they will pay in fines, they will continue to break the law. So if the board passes this amendment, you will be opening up a Pandora's box of corporate malfeasance, because once constructed, the county will have no ability to effectively punish data centers that harm the people of this county. What is the plan when a data center that you have approved that promised not to exceed a certain amount of potable water usage starts using far more than originally stated in their development plan, leaving the local community without water, as has already happened in Newton County, Georgia? What is the plan when the toxic chemicals being emitted from diesel generators that power data centers start driving up cancer rates in the surrounding community, as is happening in Memphis, Tennessee, near the site of Elon Musk's Colossus data center? Until the county has created sweeping regulation that limits the harm of data centers from the cradle to the grave, and until the county invests real money in an enforcement agency that is capable of appropriately punishing corporations that violate these regulations, the board has no business passing this amendment. Data centers pose an immediate threat to our water, our electricity, and our health. Anyone who lost their life savings in the 2008 financial crash, who has lost a loved one to prescription opioids, who has contracted cancer from industrial pesticides, knows firsthand that corporations will destroy any number of regular people in order to make their next dollar, and government regulation will not catch up to them until long after the harm has been done. When given an inch, corporations will always take a mile, no matter the human cost. So I beg the board not to give them an inch, to vote no on this amendment, and instead devote your time to strengthening regulations and preventing the construction of data centers in Cochise County instead. If we don't have water, we don't have a county. I beg you all, please do not make climate refugees of us.
Ms. Braven, I got a question for you. So if we vote no on this and a data center puts an application in tomorrow, what do we do?
That is an excellent question. And I understand that delaying passing this amendment opens us up to exactly that vulnerability. I ask that we strike this.
So this is a living, breathing document. We are going to be strengthening it. We are going to be strengthening it over the next year. And I've heard some good comments. There's been a few good comments today about some of the stuff that we'll take a look at and consider implementing. I also got a couple, like I said, emails, particularly one lady from your district out in Hereford sent me a nice email of all the stuff that she would like to see added in there regarding impact funds, community impact funds and whatnot, which is something we need to take a look at as well. So we're getting good suggestions. So as we go through this process, we'll be having work sessions that are open to the public that will include this. We're also continuing to meet with all sorts of folks in the community, as well as industries and businesses that want to come into Cochise County. I want to add that we are being proactive. We are not being reactive. So we have time to add things into this with the input from both sides on this thing. Our duty, as we are delegated by Title 11 under the state, we are a political subdivision of the state. The state legislature gives us certain authority to act on local issues. We have to operate within those restrictions. And part of that is to do what we're doing now, is doing the homework on this and getting smart. No one else in the state has done this. Let me be perfectly clear. Not a single other county in Arizona is doing what we've done today or what we're doing now. Everybody's doing it after the fact because they're not planning ahead. So we are way ahead of the curve on this. And we have, like I said, I think at least a year to add some suggestions, some reasonable suggestions. And we will do that over the coming months. We'll have several more work sessions. We'll have our development services folks in here. We may have some folks from some of the utility companies, maybe even some data centers that want to offer their 2 cents and have work sessions with that. They will all be open to the public. I am not shy of telling people who I'm talking to. And I could tell you, anybody wants to know who I'm talking to, I'm happy to tell you. Ms. Gomez and I were in Phoenix last week. We went for an economic opportunity zone conference that was hosted by the Arizona Commerce Authority. And I could tell you, there's a lot of opportunities that this county has neglected to take advantage of to bring businesses and jobs and industry into this county, not necessarily data centers, but other industries that we were surprised. And we learned a lot up there. And we're quite disappointed that until now, no one in this county has taken a proactive effort to try to help the economy of this county. I want to be clear. We are going backwards right now. We're going backwards in population growth. We are going back. Sierra Vista just had a meeting to close a middle school because they don't have enough kids to justify to keep the school. Do you know why that is? Because our 25 to 55-year-old population in this county is declining. We don't have people here that can have kids, right? We're getting older, and no offense, I'm 60 years old, and Ms. Gomez and Mr. Crosby are up above that number as well.
Thank you.
But
I deny it though.
We are beyond the prime revenue generating years, right? I'm retired. Most of us are retired. We are not making the money that we used to make 5, 10, 15 years ago. That is not pouring into this economy anymore. We need 25 to 55-year-olds, and we need 25 to 55-year-olds to have lots of kids too, by the way. But we have to have something for them to stay here. And 25 to 55 right now is our biggest export to Pima County, Pinal County, and Maricopa County. And it's hurting us economically. It's hurting us with regard to state shared revenue. It's hurting us with regard to HERF, and it's hurting us with regard to property taxes. And I don't want to take any more of your time. So do you have any additional comment? I'll give you another like 15 seconds.
My only comment is that the same problem will arise if you pass this amendment today, that you will, and we get an application for a data center tomorrow, you will still be following rules that are not strong enough.
Well, we will have at least some restrictions rather than none.
Yes.
Okay.
None, but amendments to this ordinance need to come quickly. That is my request.
Okay, we'll work on it.
I just like to say, this is a living framework. It's not set in stone. And we're taking these comments and we are going to move forward. So, if we don't, there's just more drastic impact that can happen to the community than if we don't.
Yes, I appreciate that. Thank you, Supervisor.
All right, next up, we have Miss Girodette. Oh, I haven't seen Miss Girodette in a while. Is she around?
There she's here.
There she is. Come on up, Miss Girodette. Good to see you in person.
Supervisors, Tricia Giordano, Sierra Vista. So, yes, congratulations on being proactive. I do have a few specific comments about some of the sections. Under 5E, the hazardous materials inspection and response. The inspection is to identify deficiencies and corrective action proposed or taken. I ask that there be a more frequent inspection as a follow-up for any such corrective action proposed or taken, perhaps 6 months or even 3 months, to make sure that there was progress being made if there was a correction action needed on a hazardous material. I don't think waiting a year would be good. Noise. The words here are good, but there are no numbers associated with the testing of noise impacts, and I don't know why. The dangers of higher decibel levels are well known. I don't personally know the numbers, so I can't suggest anything today, but I know they are well researched and documented. I think there should be a testing of upper limits with a number at the property boundaries, and then perhaps again at a specified distance from the property boundaries. I don't see a specified distance for, quote, beyond the property boundary, and I think that would be good to address. Lighting, the county has a dark sky ordinance, a light pollution code that was achieved through hard work over many, many months with a variety of experts and county staff. I ask that the lighting, section 7, refer to that light pollution code as a point of compliance in this ordinance. So there's no reference back to all that work and those numbers. Under utilities and infrastructure, water, of course, we've addressed this, and potable water shall not be used unless, that's a big unless. So in many parts of the county, that means it will, of course, be groundwater. And so I think the county should put limits here. I'm afraid I'm embarrassed by being willing to throw out a number, 5 acre feet, 10 acre feet, or a better suggestion I've heard from others is no net water use. But I do think that there should be some specification here about water use. Don't just leave it open, please. Thank you.
Oh, thank you very much, Mr. Adet. That was very good. Next up is Steve Helfrich. We on time here. Oh, I'm sorry. You can go ahead. You have 3 minutes. Thank you, sir.
Stephen Helfrich, Studio Architecture, 1303 F Avenue, Douglas, Arizona. I'll try to be brief, concise, clear. These are complicated issues. Again, I agree with the 3-minute limit. It's difficult. I practicing architecture for 40 years in Phoenix. I've seen a lot of changes. I came down here, bought a building, renovated it in Douglas. I was going to retire and paint. Didn't understand what a hornet's nest this county is, and all the interests. 5 years I've been studying it, and I really believe that the county has growing pains, severe growing pains, and needs to, in certain ways, grow up and understand Phoenix has been through it. Tucson's been through it. Everybody, all this stuff that Cochise County is going through right now, we've all been through it. And what I do is encourage you to take advantage of all that, and also take advantage of the people, the resources you have here in the county that are reasonable. I don't believe that I'm not an anti-development, the data center There are a lot of things worse than data centers, but I do believe that the rural urban interface is where you're severely lacking in your regulations. I believe that you should get on the industrial agriculture zoning versus dairy problem, which is Riverview. And then I think that on the data centers, I really believe that you should, the RU zoning is absolutely, this is heavy industrial zoning. And that's where it should be. There should be no, I can't believe, I'm a little bit taken back, that you would even consider having a data center in an RU zone or around it. So as far as I'm concerned, if you don't pull that one off that they have, make a setback. No data centers within 6 miles is what we're hearing. Make it 3. That's legally defensible. Water zero net, absolutely. You've got to solve the water problem.
Yeah.
And then beyond that,
All right. Thanks, sir.
get the Douglas Port thing going on, because you really need to have a port zoning category.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. Just to add, the vast majority of the county is RU. All right. So part of the duty of the board is to designate as the county grows and cities as well as they incorporate and they grow, they implement zoning changes to RU. RU is our blank canvas, so to speak. It's not a protected, separate zoning area. I want to make that perfectly clear. It is an area that eventually, as growth occurs, will be rezoned.
But it's essentially residential.
No, it's mostly agricultural.
Yes,
Yeah.
agriculture with residential on-site that.
Or unused, vacant, undeveloped land.
Yes,
Yeah.
but I still think there's that regulation there is very important.
I got you. Yep. We'll take that suggestion. I had already suggested something like 2 miles or more, something along on that lines. So that, as far as agenda item 9, we haven't gotten to agenda item 10. There's another 20-something people on that one. So I'm trying to go, we have to be done by 1 o'clock. So we're trying to move things forward. Several other people wrote in opposed to the ordinance. Christy Brown, Jeff Sturgis, Angela Martinez, James Flynn, Tracy Caras, Robert Berstock, Carol Garnett, Stefani Stevenson, Simone Kier, Laura Lee Rowan Scorzelli, Susan Lynn Dalby, Joanne Carruthers, Tandy Hoffman, and Joanne Beth Weiner all wrote in opposed to the ordinance. And that's all we have on this particular topic of discussion. I will take it back to board discussion now. Any board member would like to add any additional or closing comments?
Certainly. Thank you very much.
Are you Mary Ann Boyles? Are you Joan Murphy? Those are the only two that I didn't put on because they spoke to the ordinance during their call to the public. So who is she?
Diane
What's your name?
Diane Lamar.
What is it?
Diane Lamar. She spoke at the public hearing.
Yeah, but she's not on the agenda item as listed as a speaker on here. I don't have her on here. Does she have one in, Laura, for item 9?
She had one for call to the public, but since it's a public hearing, she'd be allowed.
Yeah, okay. If you would like to come up and speak, ma'am, we'll let you come up. That's okay. Just come on up. Come on up. So the RV park people will be under the crunch.
Time limits here. Yes, Diane Lamar, Douglas, Arizona. And these are some questions. I know you may or may not be able to answer them, but one question I had was whether or not you can make an amendment to this ordinance. If you are just dead set on passing it, is there the ability to make an amendment to it before you pass it? And if so, I would urge you to do that. I know that you requested specific recommendations and commentary on this, which I appreciate. But it sounds like a lot of that commentary and recommendations and concerns have been presented to the Board of Supervisors previously. So I have to wonder why they are not represented in this document. It leads me to believe that you don't support a lot of the ideas that have been presented to you previously. So if that's not the case, and you are able to make an amendment to this document, if you're set on passing it, then I really encourage changes to be made today. And like you said, it's a living document. You can change it, so why not put greater restrictions in this document today? I think there's a lot of room for more stringent regulations. A lot. So I would either amend it and approve it if you were set on that, or improve the document and as soon as possible vote on it and pass it. I agree with so many comments that have been made today. I agree with the net zero. I'm sorry,
No, you're on. Keep going. You got a minute.
net zero, prohibiting use of potable water except, bathroom sinks. I'd like rural removed from the document. I think we should require things instead of may require in terms of emergency response, hazmat, etc. And I'm wondering also, because I know my time's running out, I was wondering why the P&Z moratorium was not referenced specifically. It was just referred to as a recommendation. I would think that specifying what the recommendation was is important. And I was wondering if we could have a copy of the legal county argument that was referenced earlier today, explaining why the county's position is that we do not have enough data in support of a moratorium.
All right. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. All right. Anybody else? We good? Mr. Crosby.
Mr. Chair, because I recognize that my emotions are the least reliable faculty that I have, I try to discipline myself to be impervious to emotional appeals. And so when I hear words like beg, hurt, fear-mongering, I recognize those as emotional appeals, which are simply wasted on me. I agree that we've heard some good comments today. And I have been studying the water issue with Ms. Gerardette, with Ms. Daly, since being on the Sierra Vista City Council very long ago. In my opinion, the idea of net zero does not happen. It does not happen because that means use water without using water. Rain does not replenish the aquifer. Rain is unlikely to ever replenish the aquifer. I believe our water is from the Ice Age. With regard to the Sprinka, I would make this observation. I believe it can be demonstrated that the long-term strategy and practice for the feds and the BLM is to gain power subject to existing rights and cooperative agreements, but then bulldoze or bribe away those rights in subsequent decades. Perhaps my friends agree with me, and we've heard these terms before, like cooperation and coordination and collaboration, which I believe go into this overall strategy, which ends up being, as we've also heard, implications that of bribery, but I haven't received any bribes. But whoever has the gold makes the rules, and that is basically not Cochise County. And I believe that concludes my remarks, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Crosby. Ms. Gomez?
This is a living document, and I don't know how many times it's stated before, that can be amended, that we will have work sessions, which we stated before, that we will take on all the suggestions that are given to us and look at them as we stated before. We are not set in stone. This is not a set in stone document. It's a living framework that we will amend. So yes, We will do all those things. And we have to have something in place to be able to then work forward. If we do not vote on this today, it takes, because of open meetings law, because of how you have to put the agenda out there, it could be a month or two before the P&Z commissions heard it again, because that's where it goes from. And, you know, I have full faith in my P&Z commissioners. I meet with them once a month so that we're talking about the issues and we're all knowing what's happening, and I'm well informed. So with that said, it is a living framework in which we can then amend as we go forward. And it's sad to see people who, you know, the fact that I will talk to anybody, I will talk to the data centers because I can gain knowledge and I can ask really hard questions. And then I go to the other side and ask the same thing. I don't think as an elected official that I'm doing my due diligence by not talking to them. We have to understand where their mentality is and what they're thinking so that we can have the right kind of, you know, vision of what's coming. So this whole thing when we broke open meeting law, we did not do that. It was not something we put forth. It was another organization. They invited elected officials, mayors, city council, P&Z to just learn. And that is what I think all of you would expect of us, to educate ourselves on all levels from everyone. And that's what we're doing. And it's unfortunate people think that that's a backroom type of meeting. It wasn't. It was a meeting that an organization held. And I'm not going to not go to them because somebody views that as a violation of a meetings law when it's not. So therefore, I am very grateful to hear all of your comments. I think we have taken them into consideration and we will go forth and we'll work with them with our development services and with the P&Z and start amending where the comments we get were very, very good. And I think, you know, we have a lot to work with, and there'll be open meetings and there'll be work sessions in which you all can be invited. I must say, you must be due diligent, go on the county website, and you'll see when all those things are happening. And that's the best way to stay informed. Thanks.
All right. So I'm going to ask Ms. McLaughlin and Ms. Gilman, if you guys could help us compile the comments we heard, not just today, but we got in the emails. And then let's set up a work session for, oh my God, I don't know if we can even squeeze one in. Maybe May 5th or 6th or somewhere in there, or May, I don't know. Try to look at something, and it's budget season, ladies and gentlemen, by the way, and we are in the midst of developing the county's budget. So we got to find a way to squeeze this in. But I asked the two of you guys if you guys could work together to help us out and get that list compiled. And then let's do a work session to review that list. And then after that, we can give direction to you guys on what to work on and research and whether or not we're going to add it or not add it. So let's do that as a first step. So sometime in that time frame, there's like only like 2 or 3 days in that whole month that are open that we could do this. If not, just bump it to the early June is the soonest you can get it.
Yes, sir. We'll work on that.
I appreciate it. Okay, we'll do that.
And then will that work session be put on the county website, right? So people can watch it?
Public, they can come to the meeting. So I got an email from a guy reference. I don't know if people are aware. There was a train derailment out at Mescal J6. And this gentleman emailed me and he says, why doesn't Cochise County have a hazmat response team with a hazmat vehicle? And why do they got to keep calling Tucson to provide hazmat? And I said, that's a great question, because we're broke is the answer. And we don't have the money. And the fire district in Mescal J6 is a struggling fire district. Just to do a sort of an explanation, Navajo County negotiated a deal where the fire district, in response to that project that they approved up in Navajo County, got $2 million to buy a hazmat truck and train a fire crew on doing hazardous material response. That's what we're talking about here. So when we talk about the impacts of a data center or some other large scale power hungry future project, we are going to put in there, part of the negotiation is to negotiate the impact fees. And that impact fee may result in the ability to whatever the fire response team is, whether it's Wilcox Fire, Benson Fire, Douglas or Sierra Vista, Fry Fire, whoever is the responding fire service, they have to provide adequate funding for them to develop a hazardous material response to that place, and they will have to pay for that. They will pay for that. So the fire departments, I could tell you the chief out there would probably really appreciate when that train derailment occurred that he had a hazmat vehicle in that fire district. But our fire districts are struggling. Anybody that sits on the fire district board, you know, I can name, what do we have, 19 of them?
14.
14 of them in the county. They're all hurting. They're all hurting. And they don't want to raise your taxes. They're trying to provide fire service. And it would be nice if we had a huge revenue generating source to pump money into those fire districts, either directly with a direct check to buy the equipment, and then secondarily through the fire district tax if that fire district annexes that project into the district. And it's a way to generate revenue. One of the ladies that spoke today talked about funding schools. Well, did you know that almost half of the property tax revenue generated by our wonderful county assessor and county treasurer goes to both the Cochise County Community College district tax and the local school district tax? So you will pump more money into the college district and into the local school district that's in there, and actually school districts statewide, because we have state shared revenue with regard to schools as well. That puts more money into those schools. Hospital districts, if it's in a hospital district, the hospital and rural health care, which we have a problem with in this county, and it's a challenge, will also generate revenue from that. So you got to look at both sides of this issue. I get the emotional aspect of it. Nobody wants this in their backyard. I don't either. So we're going to try to find locations, and that's our job under Title 11, is to do planning and zoning to determine where the best locations are. We're going to work with our development services folks and the public to determine where those locations are and where we're going to put them, and then try to minimize the impact as best as possible. And again, if you want to see a masterclass on how to present to the Board of Supervisors, I got to hand it to Ms. Girodette. Every time she speaks to us, she comes with the receipts, she comes with the information. I really appreciate, Ms. Girodette. You've actually helped us out on several occasions with providing us good information, and I appreciate people that come up and provide the data and the backing of that to us, and that helps us a lot. And again, I appreciate those of you that provide that proactive input to the board. But that said, our mission here today is to initially lay an ordinance which does not exist, and to negate the potential of an application to this county for a data center and not have any guidelines or any restrictions whatsoever. So we are going to vote on this in a little bit here to begin that process. But again, as Ms. Gomez stated and Mr. Crosby stated, we are going to continue to progress this. We'll do another work session in May or maybe early June sometime to start reviewing the comments. We'll determine at a subsequent work session whether or not to amend based on the feedback from you and your team, and as well as the board's feedback on those suggestions. And then probably set maybe something in late June or early July to amend this ordinance and add stuff. So, and again, if you want to add public comment, you can email us, or you can email Ms. McLaughlin and her team over there with, again, I want to be clear, reasonable suggestions. Okay, you can't say that you can't create, again, as I stated in this lawsuit under Prop 207 and under state law, you can't create an obtainium conditions. You can't create conditions that are not obtainable by an applicant. You can put reasonable restrictions on them. If we try to ban them or prohibit them, the state will take that authority away from us, and then they will preempt us, and then they're going to put them wherever they want in Cochise County. So we don't want that. We want to do this right. We want to put reasonable conditions in place, like 2 miles from residential areas, and limitations on water usage, and making sure that they use power without impacting the residential ratepayers. All that stuff is reasonable stuff. And I think, no one else in the state has done that. We are leading as far as this effort goes to that statewide. And I just want to appreciate both Ms. Gomez and Mr. Crosby for their help on this. Go ahead, sir.
To reiterate, Ms. McLaughlin has my confidence that she will do the best job that can be done.
And please look at the press release, because that does mention the statute in which you were talking about. And we should, when we do a press release, we should have copies out for the public to be able to get, because they probably didn't see it because they don't follow our website, which they should.
We have
placed copies out there. You have placed copies? Okay, there's
And
copies.
we don't have very good media in this county. We don't have a TV station. We've got a kind of a newspaper, and we've got a bunch of other entities out there. But it'd be helpful if And then, like I said, we could set up one-on-ones if you would also like one-on-ones, and we'll be happy to do that. But with that, we are running out of time, and I know the people with the RV park want to have time to discuss that issue. So let's go to the motion and reiterate here. The motion before the board, if I can find it, is to approve ordinance 2609, amending the Cochise County zoning regulations to define data center and require special use authorization in certain districts and establish standards for their siting, development, and operation.
Mr. Chair?
Yes.
If you could close the public hearing.
Oh, thank you. I forgot. No, we finished public comment. So we are now going to close the public hearing, and now we will go to the motion at hand. The motion, again, as I stated, is to approve ordinance 2609, amending Cochise County zoning regulations to define data center and require special use authorization in certain districts and establish standards for their siting, development, and operation. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 3-0. All right, let's move on to number 10, which is going to be just as fun and exciting here. Can I get a motion to approve agenda item number 10, please?
I move, Mr. Chairman, that we approve, modify, or deny docket SUA 25-04, an appeal by Benny and Janelle Schmidt applicants to allow a special use authorization for a recreational vehicle park on tax parcel 104-34-010A along South Hereford Road in Palominas, Supervisor District 1.
Second.
All right, I will now open the public hearing on this agenda item and go to Mr. Taylor for an explanation. Oh, got to get slides up there.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, board members. This is the staff presentation for docket SUA 2504, an appeal of the Planning and Zoning Commission's disapproval of docket SU 2514, a special use authorization request to allow a recreational vehicle park. Property is located along Hereford Road, approximately 4 miles north of Highway 92 in Supervisor District Number 1. Property totals about 30 acres and is zoned RU4. RV parks are allowed with special authorization approval. Property abuts the San Pedro River and is within the San Pedro Riparian National Conservation Area, also known as the Sprinka. The applicant's site plan shows cluster development along Hereford Road. There are significant floodplain because of the San Pedro River as well as Spring Creek Wash. A couple of drone images. These would be taken in August of 25 for the original docket. These are not current. This would be viewing to the southwest and viewing to the northeast. And you can see the San Pedro there in the foreground. Again, the project site totals about 30 acres and is located along Hereford Road. The original proposal was for a 30-space recreational vehicle park. The item appeared before the commission on 10 September 2025. The commission denied the request by a vote of 6-2. Came to the board on appeal on 18 November. The board remanded to the commission by a vote of 2-1. The commission heard this item again as remanded by the Board of Supervisors on 11 March of this year and recommended conditional approval with new applicant information by a vote of 7-2. These are the recommended conditions instituted by the commission. The commission's altered the first recommendation, condition number 1, reducing the number of spaces from 30 to 24. The board has the options of approving the Planning and Zoning Commission's revised recommendation with conditions, modifying the recommendation by adding, removing, or amending individual conditions, or denying outright the appeal and disapproving the special use. And Mr. Chair, board members, this concludes staff's presentation of docket SUA 2504. And Mr. Chair, the applicant is present.
Okay, any questions for Mr. Taylor before we move to the applicant?
Did the applicant talk about cleaning up the river where his land is adjacent to the San Pedro River?
Mr. Chair, Supervisor Gomez, the applicant did address that issue during the Planning and Zoning Commission meeting.
And what did he say?
I would prefer perhaps the applicant could speak to that.
He's here?
Yeah. We're gonna bring it. Any other questions for Mr. Taylor?
Could we look at slide number 5? Okay, so I'm looking at the pond there that is at the kind of in the middle lower part of the picture there on the left corner of the green field. And I was wondering, does anybody know what is the source of water for that pond?
Mr. Chair, Supervisor Crosby, I do not know. That's not on the applicant's part.
I understand.
There were good personal friends of mine, the Thompsons, who own that, and it was just comes from,
A spring.
yeah, a spring.
Okay, that's what I thought, and that's what okay. So we also talked a little bit, you mentioned the word sanitation, I believe, in your presentation right now. And so we talked, I mean, you mentioned, I believe, animal waste, and we were talking probably about pets. Is that correct? Of people coming in there, if we're going to pass this, then people are going to be subject to restrictions. They got to clean up after their pets.
Correct.
Okay, so is any of this area used for cattle anymore?
There's some wild turkeys out there.
Not cattle.
But I believe that there used to be cattle, but I don't know if there is.
Okay.
There did used to be.
Yeah, the reason why I ask is because E. coli was a very big deal when they're talking about anything and everything having to do with the river, as I recall. So that would have to do with various animal waste. So that concludes my comments at this time. I do believe that is indeed a spring-fed pond. And so the point of that is that's the aquifer. That's how high the water is. You know, it's coming up out of the ground right there. And as I've noted many times, the river is the water table. And this is actually above the river because it flows to the river. That concludes my comments at this time, Mr. Chair.
All right. So you good, Ms. Gomez? I'll bring the applicant up. All right. Why don't we have the applicant come up and speak and present? Thank you, sir.
A little better today, not having a proposal to deal with it. You guys are got in front of you guys with.
Can you pull the mic up so we can
Yeah,
hear
I'm
you?
just happy that I don't have to deal with the proposal that you got in front of you guys earlier today. So my arrows aren't all coming at me, I don't think. So to relax a little bit from the other 2 meetings or 3 meetings now. Thanks for your time. Thanks for your grace last time to give me the chance to actually speak, to say the words I needed to say, to be heard. Very straightforward, fits into every area plan. Very basic, small imprint, 30 RV or 24 RV park. Mid, long-term, short-term to avoid traffic issues, so not everybody's turning in and out. Next slide. Okay, so this just comes in handy here and that the county's broke. So 24 RV sites could generate some income. So it's not enough to cover all the stuff going on with what we're dealing with the data centers, but this is a little bit of money coming in from the local or into the local economy. And it fits again with other B&Bs in the area, with tourism, RV campgrounds that are crammed into certain towns, certain areas. It gives them a more rural setting that fits in with the backdrop. Next, please. The biggest thing we did is researching the setbacks and historical standard buffered areas. And we're set back 600 feet from that riparian, not the actual river, the actual riparian. So our border of our land is right at that riparian spot. So depending on where you're at. So we still have plenty of room and use against at least 2 times the setback exceeding from the research from the source down here, conservative buffers. Literally 1,400 research articles talking about exactly what we're talking about with conservation, ecology, landscape, and social issues. Next, please. So the first precedence here is out of Santa Fe Canyon Riparian Forest Restoration. Having the Saccatone grass, the deep fibrous root systems that bind the soil, it's all been there for decades. So it's there. There are cattle there coming and going, by the way. So Single Star Ranch does lease a little bit of our land for cattle. Seasonal, they're not there right now, but they do. We do have a lease with them. That will go away over time. So not on this parcel right here where we're talking about, because we have 30 and 30 acres continuous. So we have 90 acres total. Next, please. Go to the back one, please. That's a big one. Again, we talked about that, Ms. Munoz or Gomez, about, sorry, about the trash. And my wife and I are going to set up a foundation for $10,000 to start a fund. We know BLM will never do it. We can call them all day long. They won't cut down a tree to prevent forest fire. So there was a second fire on my land last July. The first was 3 months before we bought the land. So the fire is a huge threat to this whole riparian system. So having cleanup, trash removal will be one of our major things we do with guests as well as other outreach programs. Next, please. Yosemite National Park is another precedent here. Just last year, they moved from 100-foot buffer zone to 150-foot buffer zone along the Yosemite Park and the Tuolumne Meadows Campground. So we're, again, 6 times what they originally were and about 4 times, I guess now, further than Yosemite National Park. So we're not right on the river, not right on the riparian. Next, please. There's another precedent with a property adjacent to the river to the southwest from us. That is the bed and breakfast at Casa de San Pedro. They're about 250 feet from the riparian and full access straight to the river. So again, we're 600-foot setback versus 250 with what's already approved. Next, please. And this is one that I think caught me off guard too. All the things that were said to me actually through the letters today. The Friends of San Pedro have said this, they were pushing people to come out with horses, hiking, riding bicycles, and the trail is usually maintained year round generally and is suited for that type of activity. We're not doing that. It's closed off to the river. The only access point is that Hereford Bridge. So if people go there, they're going to go there anyway, whether we have an RV park or not. Next, please. Traffic mitigation. I think this was a big one for the planning and zoning to see this part. 24 RV pad sites, about 30 to 48 vehicles a day. Very small impact, minimal additional traffic to normal transportation in rural areas. And that's annual average daily traffic from Arizona Department of Transportation. Next, please. So in summary, again, we share the same goals, not only the county, but the Friends of the San Pedro. We're all trying to protect this precious land that we have a gift in front of us here. It's not my land, it's God's land. We know that. We're going to preserve it. We're taking 10% of that 30 acres to make this minimal footprint area. So very small space, clean. It's going to be maintained very well. So I think the biggest thing, again, is my family with what we're doing here for legacy is we're doing things opposite of data centers, opposite of rural areas where they're building subdivisions, taking over completely, destroying areas like this. We could build subdivisions without we could just get permits and do that. So we don't want to do that. So next. So those are the other usage things that we could do. We could have all this stuff going on which would destroy the water tables. We're using the estimate we're using is about 100 gallons per RV per day. And that's a very overestimate. A home of 4, family of 4 in a 3-bedroom home. That is typically about 75 gallons a day. So RVs are gonna be a lot less with the water they're using. And it's septic systems, maintained, quiet, plugins, hookups. So there's not gonna be noise pollution at night. To give you a visual, if this is the RV park right here, our home is right here on this acreage. Literally, you could hit a golf ball and hit the thing. So we're not gonna allow raging parties and whatever else we were told we were gonna be doing on the land. So I think it's important that people think for themselves, make their own opinions, not just take what somebody told them to put into an email. It's important to show your support or you're not supporting something, but actually try to think for yourself. I think that's the biggest message I've learned this past 3 meetings is, again, the overreaction to something as minimally invasive as what they thought it would be. And I think that's why the planning and zoning voted the way they did. So I have no further comments right now.
Any questions?
Are you contemplating creating a pool? That was what I got, some pool there.
A swimming pool?
Yeah.
No.
Okay. And your septic tank, I mean, there was concern about, well, there's going to be 20 more people doing their laundry and all this kind of stuff. I mean, you will have like some kind of a, I've gone to a lot of RV parks, and I've been to RV parks that are along the rivers that are ecologically, mandated. I mean, and it's an incredible experience for anybody who loves, the river and the trees and the birds and all of that. And there's an incredible amount of respect for that, for the people who come to these RV parks, because I've been to 3, 4 of them. There is usually an area where you can go and wash, take a shower, and also do your laundry. And is that what you're going to have? But it's going to be maintained by a septic tank,
Yes.
and you're going to keep up with that, just like everyone else who lives along the river, and my friends the Thompsons who lived there for many decades.
I talked to Arturo last week. I
Okay.
don't know the answer specifically, but I know that his family's been there for, I think, 4 or 5 generations.
Yeah, at least 4 or 5
And they're
generations.
very supportive of what we're doing. I don't need to have emails from him, or I don't need echoing hope. Those are our true neighbors.
Yeah.
Everybody else could be in Tucson, could be anywhere that's saying they're our
And
neighbors.
Mr. Thompson is a compadre to my father, so I grew up with him.
He's a sweetheart.
He's a really good guy, and I talked to the family, so I commend you for what you're doing.
Yeah, thank you.
I'm on a Coke Zero. World's getting in now. Hang on a second. How long have you owned the property?
In July, it'll be 3 years. Well, I guess August, September, when we finally closed after a 60-day due diligence,
Okay.
water well test and things like that.
Any comments?
I would like to know from our P and Z chair if she could comment on what did you guys have to say about septic systems and RV dumps, if anything?
You can sit down, but we can recall you at any minute. So, have a seat.
Restate?
Yeah. What did P and Z have to say about RV dumps, which means, sewage and septic systems?
I think we did ask about that, and he indicated septic system, and then we just said we had county ordinances to guide that. And we thought that would be a good solution rather than surface runoff from cow manure.
Well, definitely. Okay. I would like to know, I'd like to broach the subject of amending this request with no RV dump and no septic system. In other words, the vehicles that come in there, they've got their own water, they've got their own sewer system, and they take it with them.
Am I still?
You can comment, sure.
You want to? I'm suspicious of that, Mr. Crosby. I would hate to see somebody become frustrated and let that go onto surface ground. You know what I'm thinking of,
Right.
effluent or gray water.
Like
Because
we
they're-
have out where I live in Pierce, the people run their black water hose out to the ditch and throw a sheet of plywood over it. You mean like
Yeah,
that?
Yeah, something that does cause me a little fear.
Yeah.
So humans being humans. So I would not be in favor of that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah, thank you. So do I have any comment from my colleagues?
No, we're going to do the call to the public now and let the people comment. Did you want to add any last thing after that comment before we go to the call to the public?
Yeah, just quickly, I would just say that, again, for my land, I don't want the people out there just dumping, because that's what will happen. There's no doubt. On that size of the property, they could pull off along the road even and dump if they wanted to. So I think having the clean septic system managed the way it should be managed for this size of project is very manageable again. So it's not a massive undertaking to have it done right. And particularly for the services that would provide them to know that they can be in and out of there and be completely clean and free of all their debris. So,
Mr. Schmidt.
yeah, go ahead.
where is the nearest RV dump now?
I don't know. So I'm not even looking that way because we're gonna have
I
that.
understand.
Yeah, but I don't even know that.
I understand.
Thank you. Oh, Arturo texted me back, so he did say that originally, yes, it was, but the pumps are now pumping, electricity is feeding that.
Would you repeat what?
Arturo
The
said that
pond.
the pond property, Arturo just texted me back that originally, yes, it was springs, but now it's being pumped by electricity.
Thank you very much.
All right. All right, next, if we're done with that, we still have our comments afterwards, but we're going to go next to the call to the public. First up to speak is Joanne Roberts. Ms. Roberts, are you here or online? Oh, she's here. There she is. Good, man. You got 3 minutes.
Chair, members of the board, for efficiency, I'm not going to repeat the concerns that our organization has and myself personally being part of the Hereford community. We've sent letters, we've sent follow-up rebuttals when we don't have time to talk because of the 3-minute cutoff. But we are here to restate our opposition to a special use permit for a residential community area, RU4 zone, for a commercial business within the San Pedro NCA, the Sprinka. It's been presented to us, and once again by the landowner, that there's an either-or scenario here. It's just, you're going to get an RV park or you're going to get a high-density subdivision or some other kind of activity that we're going to continue to pump more water out of the system. But I want to challenge all of us today and the board by denying this application with another alternative by simply maintaining the RU zoning for homes that we have as code for RVs as well throughout the state of Arizona. I think one of the things that we have not really paid attention to is something called cumulative effects. And these effects, whether we ignore them from the processes that have happened from the past and things that are happening now and putting more pressure on it as we go into the future, they will have an environmental effect and mostly detrimental when there are a combination of all these things, small individual actions, but multiple actions. Those effects are a reality. And every single time that we pass a regulation, that a special use permit that is in opposition to our RU4 zone land, which changes the character of the community, and that there are reasonable, foreseeable impacts of water inadequacies based on informed science-driven research, that this RV park proposal should not be approved. It is incompatible with the conservation of the San Pedro NCA as dictated and put into action in 1988 by Congress. The approval of this permit, in addition, is in direct opposition of the county's own plans and policy. It's in direct opposition, such as the Southern San Pedro Valley Area Plan. We are not in an active management area, but we do have standards. And I have not seen the 100-year adequate water supply addressed throughout this process. I'm running out of time, but I want to say that we did not have time to look at any of the materials, and we would like this board to at least give us time, remand it, or table this so that we have time to look at all of the materials presented by the landowner.
Thank you, ma'am. Next up, Cato Daly. Okay, Ms. Richter, you can come up and then we'll swap you guys.
Thanks for your flexibility. I really appreciate it.
Sure.
Holly Richter, my address is 9525 Riverview Lane, and I am a real neighbor right across the river. Thanks for the opportunity this morning to speak. My recent opposition letter submitted to the county described the extensive community engagement process that was conducted by the county to develop the Southern San Pedro Valley Area Plan, and also my participation in it as a special advisor to that plan. The plan explicitly provides examples of special uses which may be considered harmonious within the rural and residential areas if there are no off-site impacts. RV parks are listed as one of the acceptable special uses as long as certain requirements are met, and most important of which is that the proposal not result in any off-site impacts. The current development proposal will allow for 24 RV spaces that the internet tells us would use an average of what I calculated to be 28,000 gallons of new water use per month. The applicant's estimates actually would result in 67,000 gallons of water being used each month, right next to the river. This new pumping will very likely result in offsite impacts over time if the water use is not further minimized and the remaining impacts mitigated in a thoughtful and strategic manner. The current proposal commits to none of these important details or considerations. The process of developing the area plan by the community was a facilitated process that engaged many diverse perspectives that were not always initially aligned. But together, they worked through the tough conversations in a non-confrontational manner, resulting in a plan that everybody could believe in. I'd like to propose that the proponent proactively engage the community to truly hear their ideas for minimizing and mitigating expected impacts so that all sides of the table can agree on a proposal that is consistent with the existing requirements of both the Southern San Pedro Valley Area Plan and the Sierra Vista Subwatershed Water Conservation and Management Policy Plan. This kind of a sincere outreach effort to those who are most concerned was requested by the board the last time this proposal was heard, but one failed attempt to call the Friends of the San Pedro is not the level of effort that I am suggesting here. The good news is that we know that a true consensus building process can work, even in a rural community like Palominas, as evidenced by the county's existing area plans. If community plans at that scale and scope can be agreed upon with the good faith and commitment of all players, why can't a 30-acre proposal? Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. All right, Ms. Daly, you're back up. So you have 3 minutes.
Thank you, and I appreciate your flexibility. I do agree with what Ms. Richter said, but I would like to just preface that I am not against the RV park applicants. I've never met or spoken to them, and I'm not against RV parks, but when they're in an appropriate place, and that they meet the criteria and guidelines of plans developed by the county with community input, such as the county zoning regulations, the Sierra Vista Subwatershed Management Plan, and the Southern San Pedro Area Plan that Holly was talking about. But I don't feel that the RV special use permit does meet these criteria that are laid out in these plans. So at the November 11th, 2025 Board of Supervisor meeting, Supervisor Gomez requested the applicants get together with the concerned citizens to work out a plan for the park. This didn't happen. Instead, the request went back to the Planning and Zoning Commission, and we're back to the same impasse. So I strongly urge the supervisors to direct the applicant to do what Supervisor Gomez originally requested, to organize a facilitated meeting with interested parties to identify concerns, particularly the off-site impacts, and again, reference the Southern San Pedro Area Plan pertaining to RV parks. And one of those would be groundwater pumping, area disruptions, and to come to a consensus on minimizing those impacts that are agreeable to all parties and satisfy the county codes and plans. I just wanted to say a couple things about the trash issue. I was meeting with the Water Sentinels the other day, and it's a group that headed up by the Sierra Club that does water quality monitoring on the river and reports back to ADEQ for mitigating some of that water quality issues. And they were pointing out to me that the area that we're talking about down by the Hereford Bridge has gotten particularly trashed. I mean, some of this trash is natural stuff. It's the trees down, it's the flood flows that bring all that debris down, the natural debris, which is, of course, a very rich environment for a riparian area. But some of the human-generated trash does accumulate there as well. And one of the feelings is that because of the border wall being there, it helps to it stops some of that heavy flow that goes down through the riparian system and carries that trash out of the system. So it's not, I think it's not by neglect that the trash is down there. I think it's also very hard to get to that area because it's so mucky, and it's also being caught up with all that natural debris. So I really don't think that it's from neglect by BLM or the Friends that that area is, looks trash. Anyway, thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Next up is Simone Thier.
Hello, thank you for taking my comments. I'm concerned that the conversation about this proposed RV park is still up for discussion and possible approval after so many of us have come forward to speak against it for very legitimate reasons. I attended the last planning and zoning meeting about this and left stunned that this proposal was allowed to move forward to be heard again by the board. And now there are more concerns, not fewer. The applicant was able to cobble together a canned slideshow at the last minute so that no one had time to review the new package it was wrapped in. It's still a bad idea. He doesn't address the concerns of water usage, sewage disposal, and other hazards that this RV park holds, and acts as if Saskatoon grass will grow on its own on that 600 feet from the river, which is not really that far away. And somehow promises that he would enhance wildlife as if he has any know-how to do this. He's making promises he has no idea or intention to keep. How will nearby neighbors feel when a steady stream of RVs are pulling in and out of this land? How will they feel when someone accidentally starts a fire in this protected area and the neighbors are forced to evacuate? How will his neighbors feel when their wells begin to run dry or the chemically treated sewage somehow makes its way to the river? In a flood, it is a floodplain. There are so many problems that this proposal that it begs for you to shut it down once and for all. We cannot continue to act as if this is going to be just fine. It will not. Humans do irreparable damage to this river, even when they have the best of intentions. And I am not convinced this applicant truly understands the impact of asking for this 24 RV park spot in a sensitive land. I'm sure he understands the money he can make. No one is going to make sure he grows the Saskatoon grass, or that he keeps people from wandering to the river or his neighbor's land, or that he find an alternative water source for this project. I'm not sure he can even get a permit for the septic system he will need to process the waste coming from 24 RVs. People who live on this river want a quiet, uncomplicated life, that they are there to live in harmony with this river, not with a neighbor who has no true idea of the importance of keeping this river protected. Please vote no on this project.
All right, thank you, ma'am. Next up is Susan Ostrander.
Thanks for this opportunity. We live about 5 miles from this proposed development, this proposed RV park. We have nothing against the applicants. We have nothing against RV parks. Some of our friends are RVers, and some of the issues that have come up with this one, I think after watching his presentation and the professionally put together slideshow, there's some things that we really disagree with that were said in there. If I can back up an inch, why it became particularly important to us is about 1.5 years ago, we attended a meeting on the Arizona adjudication project, and that's for the areas where the state has taken over the water issues in the area because of some disagreement between local regulations. At least that's my understanding of it. And that's the Gila River adjudication and the Little Colorado River adjudication. The next thing on their agenda from the state was the San Pedro River adjudication. And they said at this meeting, which was by the University of Arizona, they're watching this area to see, are we stewards enough of the water that they can let the county and make that regulation? Or is the state under ADWR, Department of Water Resources, going to have to step in and take over some of that because we're not an adequate steward of it? A couple of the issues that I want to comment on, the traffic concerns. P&Z, Mr. Montgomery at the last meeting talked about his real concerns about these big RVs, and we quickly went through the slide that showed this massive RV pulled by this huge truck, which is necessary to pull them, These are narrow rural roads up there, and there's one way in and one way out. So these big rigs, literally what they are going to be going on these little narrow roads. His point is school buses go there, student drivers go there. People are not used to dealing with these issues. Those of us that are around here remember when the dump truck fell through the other Hereford Bridge, and we were without a bridge till about a year until it could be reconstructed. Supposedly that's not going to be an issue now. It would hold the weight. But the maneuvering of those things across that bridge, that's not a 2-lane bridge. It's a 1-lane bridge over that area. He brought up the issue of access to the river and that the trailhead is just a little bit up from there. From my understanding, it is a barbed wire fence between where their property is and access to the river. Does anybody think an RV that's out there birding is going to get in their car or walk clear a way around across the bridge to get the access when all you have to do is crawl through a barbed wire fence? It's just not going to happen. You're going to take that access and you're going to go there because that's what you want, is that quiet area. Mr. Crosby had a question about the septic tank, which has been a real issue of ours. We did not know at first whether they would have a septic system, but if these RVs, and I have a friend that has an RV, he said, if there's not a septic system in the place, you're going to go to find the nearest place and dump it. And that's about a mile from my house over there by the recharge basin.
Thank you,
He
ma'am.
said would be the perfect place
I
to dump
appreciate
it. Thank you.
We got to move on. Ms. Giordette, you're up.
Good afternoon, Supervisors. Tricia Giordette. I just have a few disparate points. From the very beginning, this proposal never had an answer on the application to water, sewer, or power. And as far as I know, I've never seen answers to those questions that should have been answered, in my mind, from the very beginning. Why is there no clear information from the applicant that says source of water, how you're going to handle sewer or septic, and where the electricity is coming from? So we've had disparate answers through the process. I haven't seen anything pulled together that answers those clearly on the record for me. The applicant got some time to respond to all the questions from the public at the first hearing, and then at the second hearing presented a slideshow with a lot of words and information that we then, the public, never had a chance to review and respond to or ask questions. And I think we should have that time. Lastly, I have an odd but distressing to me point, and that is that the applicant presented to the PNC some pages of supporters, signatures, sort of like a petition. And I knew the names of 2 people on that list. And I contacted them and showed them the PDF showing their name and signature. And he said, I never would have signed that. And he examined his name and the signature and said, well, it looked like someone copied their signature, did an attempt to forge it. And I know that's a really serious charge, but I know the people, and I think that he would not have signed that. And so I want to put that into the record. And I would like time, because some of the signatures look like they're done by the same person. I'm not a handwriting expert, but some of the loops and names look duplicates. So
Thank you, Ms. Giordette.
Mr. Chair, I had a question for Ms. Lowenheim. How long has the applicant's PowerPoint been posted? Has it been posted on our website for an
Since
extended?
Friday.
Okay, since Friday.
We posted the
Just wanted to clarify that. Thank you very much.
All right, next up is Lene Salilo. Hope I said that right. Looks like she's online. Miss Salilo, are you on? Is she on there, Laura? Salilo, Celilo. She's not there?
I'm not seeing her.
Okay, next up is Kimberly King, who's also online on Teams. Kimberly King, are you there?
Chairman Antonori, I do see a Kling online.
Or Kling,
Unmute-
yes, I'm sorry.
unmute
That's my dyslexia kicking in. I'm sorry. Kimberly Kling.
Hi, I actually thought I had marked that I wasn't speaking, but I'm wondering if I could say something along with my husband real quick.
What did she ask?
I don't.
What did
Can
she
you hear
ask?
me?
Yeah, I didn't quite understand what she said.
Okay.
She just stated she wanted to, if she could speak.
Yeah. So you got 3 minutes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
I live very close to the proposed location, and I just wanted to state that I also have some concerns about this, very similar to the other people that spoke. I didn't have anything prepared. I thought I had just marked that I was opposed. But my concerns are similar. Where are we going to get the water to treat the effluent from the RVs? Even if he's providing a septic system, there's still a great deal of water that has to be used to dilute what's coming out of the RVs. Traffic down by the river, it's a very quiet area, and it doesn't see that much traffic right now. So how are we going to account for an influx of people in that area that, maybe don't care about the river as much as the local residents do? Traffic is definitely a concern. That's a 1-lane bridge right there. And I didn't hear what his plans were for the traffic, but, just being a mother driving down that road with my kids and knowing how narrow it is and people bike along that road, it just seems inappropriate to have large vehicles like RVs on that roadway. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. I'm sure I have other things I'd like to add, but that's what I can think of right now, being unprepared. Oh, can you let me pause for a moment?
I'll give you 15 seconds. Go ahead. Hold her time right there. Go ahead.
I would just ask that we pause the proposal and allow for more time for the community to have input. This was brought to our attention last minute for many of us, and we would like more time to have input into this. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I thought she was going to run and get something to drink or something. She needed 15 seconds. I guess. Yeah, Coke run, Coke Zero run. All right, next up is Sandra Cregan, and she's also on Teams. Ms. Cregan? Ms. Cregan? She on? She doesn't see her. All right, anybody else in the audience request to speak? Going once, going twice? Okay, I'm going to close the public comment period. I'm going to go back to the petitioner. If you want, come on up and maybe respond to some of those comments.
Let's keep coming. First off, petitions are not forged here, so if you want somebody to forensic science, whatever you need to do, they're up, you have copies of them, so please pursue that.
What were the petitions for? I missed that
It
part.
was in support of so I 200 signatures that I got in support of this project.
Oh, it's just a
petition.
all right,
Yeah.
it's nothing, it's not official. It's just,
No, it's just like copy and paste emails.
okay, gotcha.
So it's nothing.
Okay. All right.
So are you for zoning would create 22 new homes without buildings as well too? So that was big on the planning and zoning committee, the last hearing that was discussed. So again, the alternative to what we're doing is going to way more enhance the water tables, preserve, enhance the wildlife, all those things that we said was going to kill it all. So that's not going to happen. And I've spoke 3 times now on the electric. APS is on our property. So that will be the electric plan. Sewage we just talked about. Yeah, solar was mentioned at one point too, but we adapted our plan. So, but that was spoken last time too. So water plan we just talked about too. More, both wells produce 1,000 gallons a minute each, or both combined. Sorry, 2 wells that would feed this if we needed to. Our plan is just to have 1 well dedicated to that, with more, again, capacity, with this little low imprint on the environment, as well as the wildlife, as well as everything else that we could do on the property. Traffic was discussed. The gentleman that you said at the last hearing didn't, he drove a school bus. So he was a school bus driver. I can't remember his name on the committee, but he was very adamant against the traffic in the first meeting. We compromised last meeting, again, having to pull in straight into the property without sitting on Hereford Road like the horse trailers do. Do you guys ever see those? There's some horse trailers on Hereford Road. That would be like a big RV. But we have a pull-in dedicated for that. So they would pull into the property, have no wait to punch in a gate code. They would go straight down into the property. Then the gate code would be there ahead of them. So that was revised in the last meeting as well. So I don't know what else to say here. This is my 4th time saying some of these things. So being prepared, the last meeting, I think, caught everybody off guard from my first meeting. And thank you too for your grace, having the wherewithal to give me a chance again to speak. And I'll take the credit for a professional presentation. That's just me making a PowerPoint plan. So, but that's very basic. So any other questions you guys have?
Any questions for the applicant?
Well, can I ask you, they're concerned about you not meeting with them? Can you say what you try to do or how you try to meet with them?
I've left a message with the Friends of the San Pedro from the last time we talked about that. No comment back. And I took it as what I'm feeling again today with the personalized emails saying no to every question. They're not thinking for themselves. They're being told what to think and say. And that's unfortunate when it comes to what we're trying to do here to enhance this area and have something that fits right into the San Pedro master plan. It's exactly what type of zoning could fit this area. We're not looking to make it into a 30-acre RV park. We're looking for it to be a little speck of 10% of a 90% left untouched. And yes, that Sackatone grass does grow naturally. I don't water that grass. It's been there for 60 years. The guy who sold the land had it for 58 years. So that does grow naturally. We're not feeding that. Single Star Ranch could probably testify to that. They're the ones who use it for a little bit of cattle until we get this development going. So, but yeah, I mean, I'm open. I've been a financial planner for the last 26 years. I love collaboration. I'm not used to this for something where I'm actually preserving and enhancing this riparian. We're not destroying this property. We bought it for that purpose, to make sure someone doesn't destroy this property with subdivisions. Again, and it's not a threat. I mean, that's what could happen. I'm not just going to sit on my money. I'm not going to wait for something to happen. I'm here for the long-term game. There'll be multiple phases along this property over the next decade. So we're not here just for fun and games. It's a very well thought out plan to build out. And the first meeting, we were told to be very general, like we talked about, very general. And then they started asking me detailed questions about whatever, and I had no answer. So that's why, again, the appeal was so important for me, because we saw what that did. You all said the last meeting that you take the weight of what the Planning and Zoning Committee says very strongly. And I appreciate that. I do too.
All right, Mr. Crosby, any comments? Thank you. You can sit down. We closed the public comment period, ladies and gentlemen. So he's the guy that's the rules. He gets the last shot. All right. So Mr. Crosby.
Yeah, Ms. Daly, I believe, talked about diverse perspectives or something like that, and Ms. Jaredette and Ms. Daly should appreciate me the most because I have the most diverse perspective, which is I don't believe in the existence of the Sprinka, and I don't believe there's a water shortage, especially right there. The point is, I don't want any additional sewage. One of the reasons that I continue my stance against the so-called Sprinka is because of what I believe it amounts to extortion from the military and the threat to national security. I do believe that if there is in fact no Sprinka, the area still has to be protected. So if everybody's counting on, well, the Sprinka has to exist or it's going to get overgrown with who knows what. So what I've heard is people will illegally dump without a septic system, and I don't want additional septic systems there. So this is in comparison to, for me, like the idea of a water treatment plant off of Border Road down there by the border. It's importing sewage to District 1. And I don't particularly want to do it. That concludes my remarks, Mr. Chair.
All right. Ms. Gomez, do you have any comment?
I met with my P&Z commissioners and asked them about what they felt about this proposal, and they were for it. In fact, the one that did oppose it said, in fact, I would think you should vote for it. I don't know whether or not the applicant made a goodwill effort to talk to the community. I kind of think the community, you should be on alert and proactive and asking to meet with them. It's hard for me to go against the P&Z. I did do it last time. But looking at the vote in agreement, and I even talked to the chair of the P&Z. So I feel that he did make a lot of allotments. He made a lot of change. I do believe that having part of the RV, believe me, I know a lot of people that do that. They would not go against a barbed wire fence. It's just, not their nature. They tend to be older. They tend to be, ecological people, especially those who look for those kinds of RV parks. It's tough to have change, but it happens. And I think this applicant is willing, and seems to me, intent is all I can gather. My gut is telling me that he means well. And having talked to the P&Z commissioners in my district, they voted for it. So that's my comment.
I'm beating a dead horse, but people, I'm looking at an email here that I got from another individual talking about not using data centers to generate revenue, but instead improve tourism. And then I got a guy here that's trying to improve tourism, and I got everybody. It's like everybody's against everything. It's just a frustrating thing to me. And personally, I get a little uptight, and I've said this before, where people try to dictate what another private property owner can do on their property is irritating to me. Unless there's a significant demonstrable impact to your property, it's just irritating that you want to dictate to everybody else what they can and can't do on their property. And that's something I hold personal. Private property in this country is sacrosanct. It is the basis of the founding of this country. It's the right to pursue happiness. That's what the founders said. And they want you to obtain property and then develop and pursue on your property happiness. Whether you're a farmer, whether you're a rancher, whether you're, going to build the
opt-out community,
whatever, right? It's a freedom in this country we hold sacred. So unless there's some significant, demonstrable, direct harm to neighboring properties, I tend to go with the applicant. And that's generally my approach. And I've done that consistently. I think if everybody watched the previous meetings where we've had this discussion, that's been the thing. I also want to try to work out, if we can, compromise and find that balance. And I would argue that I think there was an effort made here, and the kudos to the commission for amending this and providing what I think is a reasonable compromise. And I appreciate again, Madam Chair, your team's time in doing that, as well as Matthew, you and the Development Services folks for working out the modification and the amendment to this. So with that, if there's no more discussion, all right, let me go back. We will go to the vote. So motion for the board is to approve, modify, or deny. So with this thing, I would like a motion. If nobody wants to deny or modify, make a motion to approve. So can I get a motion to approve?
Mr. Chair, I move we approve docket SUA 25-04, an appeal by Benny and Janelle Schmidt applicants to allow special use authorization for a recreational vehicle park on tax parcel 104-34-010A along South Hereford Road in Palominas.
Second.
All right, motion before the board is to approve the docket SUA 2504. All those in favor say aye.
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 I'm opposed.
Oh, your name.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah,
All
I'm
right.
an
There you
aye.
go. All
And
right.
I don't think it's going to be the end of the world if I get outvoted, by the way.
No, that's fine. I didn't hear what you said. So I just wanted to make sure. So the motion passes 2-1. All right. And that brings us up to the fire district, the Pierce Fire District. Oh my God, we are going so long today.
Chairman.
It's been a very sporty morning. All right, so.
And if
can
I
get a-
may ask, we did have a 1 o'clock work session scheduled. Can we put a notice out of a rescheduling?
Recommend reschedule.
I recommend rescheduling too.
Okay.
Are you guys good with that?
Yes,
Okay, all right.
we will get that rescheduled.
Get that rescheduled. So it's been a feisty morning. All right, so can I get a motion on agenda item number 13, please?
Chairman Antonori, we're at 11. We still have 11.
11. What did I miss?
11.
Oh, my stuff. Oh my God. I can't
Yeah,
forget.
yours.
I can't forget my stuff. Oh, I'm sorry. I drew lines on my stuff, so I'm all discombobulated now because we moved so much around. But anyways, let's go. Can I get agenda item number 11, please? I'm sorry.
Mr. Chair, I move we approve Community Enhancement Fund expenditure for District 3, Palmerine Fire Department tires for brush truck and tender in the amount of $6,174.76.
Second.
All right, I appreciate you guys letting me hear this. I have a deference for fire districts, especially in my part of the county, because they need all the help that they can get. So when fire districts come to me, they need new hoses, they need new equipment. In this particular case, they need tires for a brush truck, which I've been through since I've lived there, 2 forest fires right by my house so far since I've been out there. So it's nice to have a fire response team out there that can respond, and any way I can help fire districts, I'm going to do that. So I appreciate you guys considering this.
What does the word tender refer to?
It's a big water truck
Okay.
that provides extra water.
Understood.
Because there's no fire hydrants out where we are. Part of living out in the boonies, I guess. So with that, any additional discussion?
Nope.
None. Motion before the board is to approve the community enhancement funds in the amount of $6,174.76 for Pomerene Fire. All those in favor say aye.
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 Aye. Thank you, guys. I appreciate that. So do the firemen. All right, next, we'll jump to 12. Can I get 12, please?
I move, Mr. Chairman, we approve Community Enhancement Fund expenditures for District 3, Wilcox Theater and Arts installation of direct exhaust ventilation for the auditorium's projection system in the amount of $2,000.
Second.
All right, let me explain this one. The Wilcox Theater of the Arts received a grant, and unfortunately, the project was a bit more complicated. As they start renovating the old theater, the project turned out to be quite a bit more than they had anticipated. So they ended up consuming the grant on remediating the issues that they found during that process, and they didn't have enough money left to buy the air conditioning and exhaust system to keep it relatively cool in there and to blow the air out. So the lady that was a part of that, when I went out there for the grand opening and saw that the building wasn't finished, and I was asking, well, why is it not finished? And she explained to me what happened with the issues that they found that they had not anticipated. She said that they're like several $1,000s short. So it was really hot there. We went up to the second floor and it was really hot up there. And I mentioned to her, I said, what's the air conditioner going to run you? And she said around 2K. I said, if you want, send me a request, a letter, and I'll see if I can get you 2K to get you at least an air conditioner for the second floor. So that's what this is. So I appreciate your consideration. Any other discussion?
No.
None? All right. So with that, the motion before the board is to approve community enhancement funds for District 3 for the Wilcox Theater and Arts and the installation of an exhaust ventilation for the auditorium's projection system. All those in favor say aye.
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 All right. Thank you, guys. Appreciate it. Now we get to 13. See Nancy in the audience, who is a member of the Pierce Fire District Board, and she's been diligently waiting for this.
Very patient.
For this to get to, so I appreciate her effort. All right, so next we had, let me get the motion first. I'm sorry, let me get the motion. 13.
Mr. Chair, I move.
Can I make a suggestion that we hold off on the motion until you have a name you want to appoint?
Okay.
Okay, all right. So could we put do you have the names that you can put up on the screen? So if you could put the names up on the screen.
Wow.
So I reviewed all of the applications. Is it up there?
It was a second.
It was. So let me, I don't know if Ms. Gomez will share it since we have the majority of the fire districts, county and our two districts. I have been seeing a pattern developing in the fire districts, and it's frustrating. We have very good people that mean well and they want to do really well, but they don't have the broad experience to manage basically a fire department, let's say. And it all comes down to one sad thing, as it always does, and that's money. And there's always feisty discussions, and I've been dealing with in Portal and not Portal, I'm sorry.
I wish you had Portal.
Bowie San Simon, there was issues, of course, a couple years ago in J6 with this issue. And what we really need, I think, on these fire boards is some people with business and finance management skills. So James Meister, when I read the applications, he's got a business degree. He worked in finance. So for me, he would be my choice. What I'm looking at is getting him appointed and then allow the quorum to be formed. So now they will have 3 members, and then they will be able to choose from the remaining individuals on this list who they want to serve out on the remaining 2 seats. But I think today just appointing one candidate would be the recommendation, and
I'm ready to make that motion.
Ready to make that?
Yes, I am.
All right.
Mr. Chair, I move that we appoint James Meister to be a member of the Sunset Pierce Fire District Board, selected from the attached letters of intent to fill vacancies pursuant to ARS 48-803B, effective immediately to serve until the next general election.
Second.
All right. Any additional discussion? The motion before the board is to approve James Meister to serve on the Pierce Sunset Fire District Board. All those in favor say aye.
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 Aye. All right, Mr. Meister is now on the Fire District Board, and you now have a quorum. Go forth and fill the other 2 seats and run the fire district as best you can. Thank you, Nancy. Appreciate you coming down here today. All right, next up.
You should be given a medal for sitting through that whole thing. That's true. He's very curious.
Yeah, we've got some. No, just again, Mr. Giordette's becoming a favorite of mine. I really appreciate the time and effort you put into some of these discussions. I know sometimes you win, sometimes you lose, but you're very constructive and you present your argument very reasonably and cogently. And I appreciate that. I wish everyone would approach the board the same way, because you get more done that way.
She's a credit to District 1.
All right. So I appreciate Ms. Giordette. I really do. And I've met you a few times, and I know we've had our differences and whatnot, but I think you're a very reasonable person. I appreciate your input. I really do. And you've helped us, like the issue that we had in Benson with that subdivision. You brought something to our attention that was pretty important. And again, I appreciate that. So with that, now we're back to. We did
Number
14,
18, yeah.
We're down to 18 again. All right. I'm good. I don't have anything I want to talk about with federal legislation.
Wonderful with the legislature.
No,
No.
the gift tax on the gas thing is.
Oh,
that-
the HERF.
The HERF funds.
So it is being held, which means it's basically dead. However, the budget processes began and they have what's called BRBs, Budget Reconciliation Bills.
Right.
And those bills are attached to appropriations. So the transportation bill, we have to keep an eye on because someone may insert into the BRB the language for the HERF tax holiday. And of course, we
Okay.
have to, and our CSA guys are watching that like a hawk to make sure that that doesn't happen. And again, so people don't, if you don't know, HERF is the Highway User Revenue Fund. It is an allocation that is distributed through a formula, half of which goes to the state, about half of which goes to counties, and the other half goes, or the other quarter. So it's half state, quarter counties, quarter cities, basically, roughly in that regard. But it's based on the 18 cents a gallon gasoline tax. So if you provide a gas tax holiday for 2 counties or 3 counties,
Maricopa, Pima.
it's Maricopa, Pinal, and I think La Paz. I'm not sure. I can't remember which one it was. There's 3 counties, I think, that were in there. Anyways, if you exempt them from paying the gasoline tax, especially since Maricopa County is probably the biggest gas guzzling county in the state, the formula will be offset and there will be a significant reduction in funds going into the HERF funds. The proponents of the bill said they would offset that with general fund money to backfill any of that loss, but it was based on last year's revenue. So if we're burning more gas this year than next year, we would end up short on money. However, in light of what's going on, we may be burning less gas this year than last year. Maybe we would get more money than we would have got if people aren't using as much gas. But it's hard to say. It's trying to look into the future and figure out, it's just better not to suspend the gas tax right now because we need roads fixed in this county so bad. I don't want to have to fight over road money if we don't have to. So that's where that's at. But if it doesn't make it through the budget, it's done for the year. And it'll be back next year though, I could tell you. But anyways, I have nothing else. You guys, anything else?
Mrs. Gilman?
Go to Ms. Gilman for her report.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the board. I have just one thing to end us on a high note.
Oh, thank you.
I want to make sure the board is aware that we need to congratulate Laura Lowenheim, our clerk of the board. She has earned the prestigious designation of Certified Municipal Clerk from the International Institute of Municipal Clerks.
Yeah.
This has been something she has been pursuing for several years because they don't offer classes that often. She's been with us since December 2022, has been pursuing it probably since day one, and has completed that series of courses to obtain that prestigious certification. So
So does
we
she-
appreciate her
Does she
very
now
much.
get to bestow knighthood on the other members of the, that she's got that authority now?
She has great authorities that we always knew, but now it's documented.
Thanks, Laura, for going the extra mile to get that certification. Thank you. All right, let's go and wrap this up. There's nothing else, Ms. Gilman?
That's all for now.
All right, so we were supposed to do our next meeting at 1 o'clock, which was
Late.
almost an hour ago. So what is our next meeting, Ms. Lowenheim, now that we postponed that?
Thursday.
What is
It
it?
is Thursday for a special executive session.
Concerning,
It's concerning the economic development RFP.
oh, yeah,
yeah,
that's
yeah,
right,
yeah.
our contract for economic development. Okay. All right, so with that, our next meeting will be on Thursday at 10,
At 11.
11?
11?
At 11 a.m. to discuss the contract and the review of proposals from our economic development contract RFP, whatever. All right, so nothing else. We're done. We're adjourned.